Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this, the 13th episode of Blood on the Thames, a Vampire the Masquerade Chronicle set in London, England. Dice penalties all night.
God damn it.
Just jumping straight in, with me tonight.
Carlos playing Moses of Clan Nosferatu.
Hi, I'm Peter. I'm playing Benjamin of Clan Malkavian.
Hi, I'm Rachel. I'm finally back. I'm playing Katia of Clan Tremere.
Hi, I'm Philip. I'm playing Jim Roy Woods of Clan Gangle.
So, now that we have a full group back, we're going to begin with a recap of what happened on episode 12, and then we're going to jump straight into it. So, take it away, Peter. Or, take it away, Phil.
Right, so, first thing we discovered a poacher within the domain, which Jim attempted to rush poacher's victim to the local hospital. Unfortunately, wasn't fast enough to make it. Realizing that the victim had a couple of vampire bite marks on his neck, Jim turns to Moses for some assistance to cover up the breach.
So, yet again, Moses, trying to clean up some of the messes of the coterie, he enters into a minor, he grants a minor boon to Sexy Pearl 68, Carrion, in order for her to set up a meet with the owner of the hospital, the Smiling Man. And Moses arranges, Carrion arranges a meeting for Moses, and then Jim eventually gets to know the Smiling Man, while Moses tricks him into give the Smiling Man some of his blood.
Yes, and meanwhile, while this is going on, Benjamin is painting like a badass. But whilst he's painting at one point, he has a painting-based vision of Moses being dragged down sort of by these horrible, gnarled, monstrous hands.
No.
And finally...
Is that our last one?
Yeah.
Finally, having all of this transpired, which is quite a lot when we were actually supposed to be doing something else. We are preparing to make our way into the warrens between Reading and London, I believe,
Yes.
to finally investigate the mysterious purge of Nosferatu that occurred there some nights previously, which is a boon of Phil's to fulfill for Plucky Jake.
So, by the time all this has occurred, it's about 20 to 4 in the morning. It's rapidly approaching the time, especially now that you're in summertime, or approaching summertime, that you have less and less time in the mornings before the sun starts to rise. You, however, have contacted Edmund through Benjamin in order to request that he procure a couple of items for the coterie in order for you all to make your way out to the warrens the next night. The list has been sent. Is there anything you guys wish to do or any discussions you wish to have before you turn in for the morning?
Yeah. Moses at some point, after Jim and I would go back to the Haven, I go straight to my room, and after the conversation we had, I text Katia if she can come downstairs because I have a couple of questions.
Katia comes downstairs. She hasn't really done much lately. She's probably, needs a change of scenery from her room. She's been working hard.
I don't mean to be rude, but
You're going to be rude.
No.
I mean, usually when people say that, it's because that's exactly what they're about to do.
Well, I am going to give you what I've heard, but if that's rude, it's not my fault.
All right.
So the Tremere are called sometimes warlocks.
Yes.
So, I don't mean to assume that you might know a little bit of, have any knowledge of what the supernatural world would be like, but we met the Smiling Man.
Oh yes. How did it go? You didn't. I didn't hear about this.
Yeah, it just happened. We're just coming back from it.
Okay.
basically we have a poacher in our realm, in our domain. Jim found said poacher. Well, sort of. He found the victim the poacher was feeding off from. The victim was close to dying, so Jim took him to the hospital and left him there, but he died.
Right.
With bite wounds on his neck.
Of course he did.
So I had to set up a meeting through one of my clansmates, having to give out a minor boon in the process.
Okay.
And we met with a smiling man who agreed to dispose of the body. The thing is that this is not the first offense we have committed into the hospital. Like the fire alarm some months back, and a little bit of the ruckus there with other patients with, well, Masquerade breaching wounds. Basically the smiling man it's a group of old people that all sit at the same time, and they talk in unison, and they said they were like magi. So I assume they were controlling all those old people. Like it was in the elderly ward in the hospital.
That's more than possible, but there are many different practices and forms of magi. It's not an area of study that I concentrated on or really looked much in depth at. It's very specific.
Okay, because of our transgressions, we had to make amends, and the smiling man was curious about the vampires and the power of the blood.
Mm-hmm.
And in order to apologize, Jim and I had to give him a sample of our bloods.
Right. So, and let me see if I understand this correctly. You willingly gave up vitae to mages. Am I hearing this right? Because there is something deliciously ironic about this.
Quick
Why?
query, guys. Where are you having this discussion?
My room.
In the basement.
In the basement. And you're still in your room, where are you?
With me. Like it's the two
So
of
he's
us
there as well. Okay.
with
Yeah, no,
Thames.
I'm just making sure
I'm going to bed like a sensible vampire. We've got a big day tomorrow. You know.
Okay, so sorry to interrupt. Back in the basement.
You understand? I find this quite amusing. Yes?
Why? Did we make a
gave
boo-boo?
your blood to mages.
Is that bad?
All right. So you know we're warlocks, but you don't know much beyond that. That's fine. Yes, I'd say you've possibly given this entity an extraordinary amount of power over you. You could essentially be marionettes to this creature now, if he so desired.
I'm pretty sure we wouldn't have made it out alive, well, existing, if we had refused.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
It was either or.
Well, I suppose you've taken that for all of us, which is mighty kind of all of you, so thank you very much for that. But yes, I would suggest we endeavour to not displease this figure anymore,
So,
lest you wish to experience some fascinating...
okay, on that note, we're not allowed into his domain until we figure out what is it that we want to do in regards with our neighbors. If we want to strike a deal of any sort in which, like a beneficial situation for both of us, or we just keep it like completely separate. I was supposed to bring word of that to you and Ben, so we as a coterie decided if we wanted to sit down and see what kind of arrangement we can end up, and if there is no arrangement, then we just go our separate ways. He keeps his domain, we keep ours. In the meantime, we're not supposed to go into his domain.
No.
He also made it very clear that if we do, he will use force. That's... I can help you there.
Yeah.
I can tell you look a little shaken, which is rather odd for you.
I mean, they look like, it was like haunted days. It looked like
They all had the
ghosts.
same look on their face.
There's a ghost
The
in this
same
building as
smile.
well, Moses.
Yeah, I mean, do you think they can help us? Like the smiling man?
What, with our housemate? Why, we doesn't need to. It's fine. There's no problems here.
You
Anyway,
say it's fine.
it's fine. It's absolutely fine, for goodness sake. Listen. We do not contact the Smiling Man again until we have a better handle, or at least an idea of what he's capable of. If I have any time, what with this boon of Jim's we've got to go and figure out, if I have any time, I will attempt to have a look in the chantry, see if I can find anything.
Please.
Yes, see if I can find anything regarding our neighbour, and what, if anything, this particular entity can do, now that he has both of your blood samples. Which, now I think about it, the fact that this Magi seems to preside over a hospital does suggest to me that there's an awful lot he can do with blood.
I mean, but he has like a very easy access to blood and blood bags and people. It could be like an easier hunting ground for when we needed, like.
It could be.
Because it's either that or this, and I show you my all torn and bitten boots and pants and his.
I probably put out a couple of rat hairs and everything. Yeah. That was a bit of fun, but God, they taste horrible.
Yeah, like it's either that or feeding off of rats.
Can't you basically turn invisible to mortals? Surely there are other alternatives to rats or blood bags.
Yeah, but turning invisible makes me hungrier, so it's like a lose-lose situation sometimes.
Well, I will see what I can find out about this smiling man.
Thank you.
But I would definitely suggest we don't go signing pacts with a being that's probably a lot more powerful than we are without fully understanding what he's capable of.
Okay.
Right?
In other news, I'm ready for tomorrow.
Yes. Regarding tomorrow, I assume everything is arranged. We're going to have everything we need.
Well, Benjamin said that he would take care of it.
All right. And is there an access point that's been planned?
I'll have to ask Agnes. She's been in her room, but she's we're going pretty much blind right now. But if it's anything like any other Nosferatu warrens, there's gonna be probably one of the sealed entrances that we'll try to go either through or around.
We might want to dig through a couple of entrances if possible, because I do not want to be trapped down there.
Yeah.
Especially if Nosferatu, who play a lot stronger than any of us, they got trapped down there and they got burnt to a crisp. I don't want to be down there that long.
And don't forget, Jim, that this is yours and Agnes's boon, I recall. Agnes also owe this for her
Sort of, yeah.
for her
because
safety in
that
the city.
asshole.
Yes, that asshole indeed. So bear in mind, we are doing this for you.
I know, I'm aware, and I'm grateful. But
We are coterie, of course, so I won't be asking a boon or anything for this, but bears repeating. Right, well, if there's nothing else, I'm going to go and rest for tomorrow. I think we're all going to need it.
Yeah, me too. And Katya, thanks for not being mad at us.
I think I'm past that now.
I feel a little guilty.
how are you feeling about Will? I did not know. Did you know?
What do you mean, did I know? Of course I knew. Of course I knew.
Makes sense. Your clan, business.
Mm-hmm. Right, well,
Have you had a chat with her since?
no, I haven't seen her in about 5 months.
Okay.
See you in the... excuse me. See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
And I head back upstairs.
Well, Jim, probably we're fucked with this smiling man, but I got your back, bro. Come here, Fuggy. I just go with Fuggy to get our pajamas.
Yeah, I can taste your thing, that fucking rat, but okay. And I'll head up.
Okay. I just close the door and lock it, just in case. And I get my pajamas on.
So, each of you heads back to your room. other than Benjamin, who's already there, and prepare for the day's sleep. You all feel the heaviness begin crawling over you long before you make your way to your rooms and before you lie down. But by the time you actually do, everything just fades away in seconds and you become inanimate. Now, for when you wake up, everybody erase some superficial willpower damage if you've taken any, equal to the highest of your resolve or composure, and make a rouse check for me.
Time again, huh?
This is where we started on the wrong foot.
I'm so unlucky with these, man.
Ah, damn it!
I'm fine.
So the least successful one out of round 6 is the only one who makes it.
Hunger 2.
Hunger 2.
Hunger 2.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Excellent. So,
Okay.
at about 6 o'clock in the afternoon, when the sun begins dipping again, on the 5th of the month, you all begin waking, your senses begin returning, and you just slowly become more animate as the Vitae just seeps through you and wills your body back into existence. Some of you wake hungrier than you went to bed. Some of you wake, or one of you wakes, as you felt before, and you wake to a London that is bathed in darkness, glistening with artificial light. The night is yours. What do you want to do?
I assume that the ones that wake up early, or I think it was you and me, higher humanity 7.
Yes, you two.
Are you down to humanity 6?
I might be.
I start making like early preparations. Like I double check that I have all the electronics. And
Everything's still there, exactly as you left it.
Yeah.
All
It's
the,
just, running
business.
through again, like making sure that I have the thing that the meter that.
you do a double check of the code. Rejoice in its splendor once more.
I just look at it for a second, just enjoying the beauty. I feel like a little Toreador in this moment. And then
Then you pile it
I get Foggy prepared as well.
Okay.
I'm
You're
just
taking
gonna.
Foggy?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, he's going in Ben's car.
Well, good luck.
He's going in Will's car, which is going to be driven by Phil,
Okay.
but by Jim.
So you're taking Foggy.
And I text everybody, like, rise and shine, or not. And I send the travel arrangements. Basically, we're taking 2 cars and the motorcycle. In one car is going to be Benjamin and Katya. In the other car is going to be, which is Will's car, is going to be Jim and Agnes and Foggy. And me on the motorcycle. Actually, I'm going to put everything on like a backpack.
Well, as you begin emerging from your basement lair and Jim begins descending the stairs, Agnes is already up. She's examining the lobby, as it were, just looking over the bits of decoration, looking at the picture of Mrs. Morovsky and her partner, just kind of her head canted, just staring at it as though, it just looks odd to her. And she just looks around and just gives you a kind of nod as you come in. She doesn't really say anything to anyone.
Did you see a ghost last night or heard noises or something creepy?
No.
Okay, cool.
Why? Should I have?
No. This is a total perfect normal place. I mean, I just checking that you are not like, hey guys, and I just turn around and move away.
I've collected a couple of little Tupperware boxes with spiders in from my room, put them in my satchel, and head downstairs.
Okay. So everyone's now up? Everyone's about?
So, as well as obviously my stuff for going to the Warrens, I will also be very carefully getting new painting, potentially wrapping it, and taking it to load it into the car, I think.
Okay.
I will be going quite quickly because, of course, it's got to be first thing. Well, who knows what could happen.
I'm going to be going to Moses. You have those car keys then?
Yeah.
Mrs. Morovsky is just smiling at everyone as they come down, sat in their usual seat with the newest edition of the newspaper. Again, screaming news about the Blood Eagle Butcher and various other news articles of interest.
Has he freaking again? Like, has he been out of there again? The Blood Eagle.
It's hard to tell without having a look. You can
Get the newspaper. Get the newspaper.
I'm gonna hustle through the lobby with my painting and say, right, Katia, we have to go now.
All right, I'm coming.
And I'll see you all later. I'm going out.
Yeah, I'm gonna see Miss Ross and go. Good read.
Well, about as interesting as it normally is, Jim dear.
Nothing new on the butcher person, whatever.
The who?
The Blood Eagle Butcher, I think they've named him.
She flips over and looks.
No, well, they're just speculating about everything they're always speculating about. It's a stupid name if you ask me.
Yeah. Well, that's good to know. Maybe someone's actually called him and stopped him.
Maybe. Well, I'm sure they put it in the newspaper if they had, Jim dear.
I don't know. Thank you.
I put on my helmet and tell them, like, see you at Edmund's Gallery. That's top number 1.
Katia, roll. We'll say intelligence plus. No. Yeah, no, intelligence plus wits. Let's go crazy.
Wow. This is some
Wow.
crazy roll.
No.
That's 3 successes.
3.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-oh.
Oh, do I get a note?
Note passing.
This is
Excellent.
pretty exciting.
Not yet, it's not.
Uh-oh.
2 by 1.
It's terrible, but excellent. I mean, it's better than not knowing something terrible.
True.
If you can pass that over for me.
Gotcha.
Okay.
You all look nice. You going anywhere?
I'm already gone.
Yeah, I had to skedoodle
I'm gone.
after him because he was nagging at me. You can handle the social situation, guys.
So has everyone just left her? You just hear her out the door.
Bye then.
I say from the helmet, going for a night ride, Mrs. Moravsky. See you around.
All of you on that bike? You be careful, Moses.
No,
No, Moses.
Moses, sorry. What's...
Actually, I think she doesn't know Jonah died.
No.
She still calls me Jonah.
Apologies.
You be careful, Jonah.
I will. I think this is a good night to break it to her. I mean, I'm going out on the motorcycle. Then we break it in that I died. Well,
Yeah, I'm-
Jonah.
As sort of accent, I'm gonna kind of offer my arm as if to Agnes and go, shall we?
She just shrugs and then takes your arm and just walks out. But the moment that you're outside of the door, she just like takes her hand.
As we walk out the door, I just turn to Miss Ross again and just give a little wink. I said,
Goes back to her newspaper.
there we go.
Foggy,
Yeah, she takes her arm off.
go with Agnes. Come on, Foggy. And yes, have Foggy go into.
Yeah, Foggy's with her and she just kind of watches him, but then just follows you. Doesn't say much.
Open the car, get in.
I just drive to Edmund's Gallery.
It doesn't take too long for you to get to Edmund's Gallery, particularly not with... Who's driving there, sorry?
So I'm driving my car.
Okay, well, you're certainly not wasting any time getting there.
No, but I'm driving sensibly.
Oh yeah, sensibly. But,
I mean,
if
so
you're ever
I'm
gonna...
being very anxious about trying to get there quickly, but I'm not actually speeding. I'm just like
Okay.
feeling this.
So it doesn't take you too long to get there, and you pull up, and you watch in the rearview mirrors Moses and the others pull up in their respective their vehicles.
Oh.
You climb out with your...
Yeah, I'll get. I won't be long, and I'll hustle up steps with the painting and.
race side. And the gallery's actually got a few people in it. They're not... They are observing the art. They are dressed casual smart, as it were. But it doesn't look like it's an event planned. It looks just more like these are individuals that have come to view it. And they kind of glance around as you enter, but they don't really say anything or give you any larger recognition of just...
Good.
And then as you walk through, you see the woman approach you You recognise her as the same woman that was there when you last visited the gallery at a different opportunity, or not a different opportunity, on a
tougher night.
Yeah, on a tough night. It's interesting that although you know she is quite close to Edmund, the stitching that she has down the side of her face, if she was a ghoul, that should have healed by now. It hasn't. And she still has it, and she still moves around with purpose and surety, and as she sees you, she comes up, nods to you, and then just gestures for you to move towards the back room.
I'll hurry through.
As you hurry through, she does a look towards everybody else, making sure that they're not paying much attention, and then follows on after you.
I will try not to think too hard about the injury and how it might have happened.
Okay. As you move back into the side room, Edmund is there. He's wearing a long kind of white top and jeans. It's an oddly modern look for him, but he's standing there in front of an array of your art, one of which is segmented. It's one of the ones that he's destroyed before, but he's kind of like haphazardly just put it together. He hasn't put it together right, but he's put it together, and he's just kind of looking at them. Not in that kind of obsessive way that he normally looks at them, but he's looking at them as though to just kind of find some sort of order in them. And he doesn't look around as you come back in. He has his hair pulled back into a kind of stunted ponytail, and he's just observing and staring at them. And as he hears the door shut, he stands up, and you can hear the soft tread of barefoot upon the stonework underfoot.
Mm-hmm.
And then he looks around as though he's just finally realised you're there. Come.
Hello. I've got the painting.
Excellent. Show it.
So I'll look for a place. I don't know if there are any sort of stands, or otherwise I'll just put it like.
The woman that guided you in moves around the edge of the room, and she just puts up a stand for you, and then she steps back.
So I'll put it on the stand and have that moment of nerve I always have before he gets to see the painting, and then whip it away. And stand back so he's got an uninterrupted view.
He stands up. Well, not stands up, he's already stood, but he kind of turns more towards it, and then it's almost like he's pacing around it, and then he stops, and then he paces back as though he's trying to observe it from a different angle, and then he moves up and approaches it. And as he often does, he reaches out as though to touch it. There's that moment when you're like, and then he just stops and then brings his finger back. I like it.
Oh, good. Oh, I'm so glad. I hoped you would. I did.
Of course I will, Benjamin. It's your art. Of course I'm going to like it.
I thank you. That's a great relief, and I think you're going to like the next one too. Although I shouldn't say that until I finished it, but I have a good feeling.
Tell me.
It's based a little on what you told me to paint. You suggested there was a new inspiration at court last night, and that's what I've used as one of the inspirations. But it's very different. But it's I'll as I say, it's early days, but I'm very excited about it, and I'm so glad you like this one.
Of course, Benjamin. I mean, there's something about it. You've always done crowd scenes, but this is. It just feels more personal.
Yes, I think it is.
Although I don't like the fact that you've put me into this piece.
You don't?
No. Why am I in this piece? You don't often paint about me. Why am I in this piece?
I suppose it's
And his hand comes out suddenly, and he finally touches the piece. But what he's touching is the individual whose features were smudged before you could look at them. And he seems to have picked it out amongst a sea of smudges.
I knew you would.
And he points. That should be the focus, Benjamin.
But yeah, well.
It's curious that you always include this last.
Yes.
You did, didn't you? This is last.
Yes, yes. It's like you watched it. It's incredible. Yes, that is the last piece, the last part of it.
You're curious, aren't you?
Yes, the thing is,
You're curious about who this is.
well, yes, because they must have been there when I was working on the piece, but I can't remember them. You know, I mean, I can. It's like when I see them sometimes. I know they're there, but I can't remember them afterwards, and. But they're always there, Edmund. They're always there, every time.
And they always will be, until you master yourself to the degree that it no longer bothers you.
Are you saying that if I can paint well enough, I'll capture them properly? Is that what you're saying?
Perhaps. Or maybe they'll be omitted entirely from your art. Although that would be a shame. But I'm sure that in the void that is left you would find some new measure of inspiration. But they will not stop plaguing your art, Benjamin, until you destroy the individual.
Yes. Yes.
And for that to happen, it has to just be let go.
Well, now that you're helping me to get stronger, I hopefully I'll be able to move on from them. But it's
Your happiness is all that matters to me, Benjamin. I have told you this before.
you have. It's just that they won't leave me alone. That's the thing. And I don't know what they want. They don't. It's not like they do anything. They're just there.
Well, perhaps that in itself is a blessing that they don't
Yes.
exert control over you.
Yes. Yes. It would be awful if. But that's the thing that always worries me. What if they do something? What if?
Then I will be with you, Benjamin. I will not let you do this alone. Your next piece.
Yes.
When can I expect it?
Well, I only started it last night. I'm not sure yet, but I'll update you when I know.
As soon as it's
Yeah,
ready.
of course, as soon as possible.
Excellent.
Oh, good. Did your assistant have a chance to pick up those things that I asked for?
Oh, yes. And she approaches from the back and then hands you what looks to be... It's kind of like a unmarked like sack, as it were. And it's quite a large one. And she's pulled it out from the corner of the room and then just hands it to you. It's quite heavy.
Right, so that definitely feels like it's got everything in it.
What is this for?
We're. I'll kind of flick a glance at in the assistant's direction and say, going on a little expedition.
Get out. And she just nods and turns and walks out. Well, speak freely, Benjamin. I'm curious.
Well, we're exploring an area underground. So that's why we need all of these things.
Under London.
Yes. Hang on, that's technically true or not? Oh, it's actually untrue.
That's
We're going
not
outside
true.
of London. I'll say, not exactly, no. So I'm so sorry to be. It's just that I don't think I'm supposed to tell anyone.
You can tell me.
Well, I know that I can tell you, and of course I trust you. It's more.
Do you want to not tell him?
I'll say. I'll say. Well, all right, but it's a secret.
Oh my god.
My lips are sealed.
Sorry, I don't laugh in character. I'll say it's I'll say, but it's a warren.
You're going down to the Warrens.
Yes, but it has to be a secret. There's going to be lots of trouble. So that's why I'm not talking about it. You see, but that's where we're going. Yes, to have a little look around. I think it's all to do with, well, you know, I have a.
You're going to the Warrens, but you're not going to the London.
That's right. Yes.
Why, Benjamin?
Well, because I haven't been asked to precisely, but it's to do with my coterie. They've been asked, and I'm helping out.
Don't let this interfere with your art, Benjamin.
Oh no, of course not.
The Primogen cannot be kept waiting.
No. I'm hoping that we're starting to get a collection ready for them now, and I'll gesture towards the stuff that's there.
I have some artists outside with their offerings, but we'll see. Was there any in particular that you took note of as you walked through? Anything that immediately leapt out?
Well, to be honest with you, I was so intent on getting this painting to you. I know you said you wanted it first thing. I didn't even look at the other paintings. Would you like?
I'm not on about the paintings. I'm on about the people.
I'm assuming there wasn't, or was there?
Not really.
Not really. As I say, I was thinking only of you, Edmund.
Perhaps I'll go out and introduce myself to them, and
I'm sure they'd like that.
yes, maybe.
Oh no, I'm sure they would. Why wouldn't they? That's probably why they're here.
Because they're not all going to be involved in the gallery.
Ah.
Some of them I'll have no use for. They can.
Oh, of course. Well, the sooner I can get this business done, the sooner I can get back to the painting.
Then make it prompt.
I will. I'm going to go right now. Thank you so much for this, Edmund. I really appreciate it.
Anytime. You are as my own blood. Send her back in.
I will. So I'll send the woman. Oh well. Yeah.
The moment you open the door, she walks past you anyway.
Okay. And then I'll head out back to the cars.
Shuts behind you, and then you move back through the gallery. The moment the door opens, a lot of the individuals turn and look, and then realizing you're not Edmund St. Clair, they just look back to their own pieces of art. And you notice now in second viewing, these individuals are all kind of clumping to individual types of paintings or different stylings. And
Do I think these are other artists hoping to get his patronage, or I will have as I'm going through just a cursory glance, just in case any of them look really good.
okay, wits plus awareness. We'll say wits plus crafts. Yeah, we'll go wits plus crafts, and your specialty will apply.
That's where I'll.
Are you looking at the people or
This is where I'll messy critical. Probably the art first.
Okay.
I'm an art first, people second kind of person. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 successes.
Okay.
6 successes. No, 5 successes. Sorry, I lie. 5.
Okay. You start walking back towards the door, and then you stop and you do a double take. The artist that's closest to you is a young woman with the hair kind of pulled back, quite plain features, but the way that she's kind of looking at her art is the same kind of obsessive way that you look at your own. And you look from her to her art, and then back again. And then the more you look at the art, the more you decide you don't like it. Not because it's not bad, but it's because it's the exact kind of thing that Edmund would like. And in that glance, the more you're looking at it, the more it's kind of you feel that kind of gut punch of sudden and unexpected burst of anger as you're looking at something that you know he's going to like.
I'm going to go back and knock on the door to Edmund's room.
The woman opens it, and then she seems surprised to see you, but then she steps out of the way.
I'll step in and I'll say, sorry, Edmund, to interrupt, just a quick thing. I'll say, I did have a look at the people out there. They're no good. And then I'm going to leave.
Oh, wow. Is this Mean Girls or Masquerade?
Jealousy. Celos, malditos celos.
Okay. So she shuts the door behind you. She does a quick glance out and watches you go, and then shuts the door again. But then as you're approaching towards the door again opens out, and the woman walks through, and she immediately she calls them, and they all come towards her. And based upon the expressions that they show, it's quite clear that she's just told them to fuck off in a polite way. But then quite a few people just, the look that they give her, the look they give to the door, and then one or two of them turn and look at you as you walk out, and you just close the door behind it as you step out. And you all watch him return into the car, sans painting.
So I'll come with this big bag and I'll put it in the boot.
I'll go and open it, check it.
Okay. Crowbar's there. A multi-tool is there. A single pickaxe is there.
Okay.
There is a rope. There is a single shovel. There are torches, and there are enough batteries to fill 4 torches.
Cool. We got Not as much of it as we were hoping, but I think we got a spread of it than we need.
I think thank you is fine, but you know, I mean,
Thank you.
you do you. I'll get in the car.
Okay.
They're more concerned about where we're going to.
As you say this and sit in, Agnes, who's been sat in the back, hands in the hoodie, kind of hood pulled up as she's watching all of this going on, kind of looking at the gallery with a noticeable distaste on her face. She just says, Heathrow.
Okay.
Pull away.
Are we making a convoy?
And you begin making your way through London at a time where there is a lot of traffic going on. It's around this time that quite a few people are still coming back from work, a few people are moving back and forth to different places. It's a slow journey. It takes a little bit longer than you wanted to.
We forgot the walkie-talkies.
Perfect.
I just remember in the motorcycle it goes, the walkie-talkies.
And you're finding it easier to weave in and out. It's a bit more annoying for you because you have to constantly stop, start, put your foot down. But you manage to keep up a pace with these guys quite easily as they make their way towards Heathrow. And then finally they pull up besides Heathrow, but there's quite a few people, there's quite a few cars listed in the car park. There's a number of flights going back and forth at this time of night. And without a word, Agnes gets out of the car. She looks like she's about to start off. She stops, turns back and looks at you and just waits.
Sorry to be annoying, but I think Benjamin would want to talk to Katia on this long, slow drive a little bit.
So?
He'll be quite pleased because it's a good opportunity.
Yeah, of course. Back in time.
So, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Well, no, I'm. He liked the painting, so it's very good. Very
Oh,
good. Indeed.
that's good
Yes,
news.
big relief. But I was wanting to ask you about something, a couple of things actually, if you don't mind.
I am a captive audience.
Yeah, I did have that thought. So what I was thinking was that there were some things I was talking to Moses and Jim about, and they often said actually you were the person to ask because you know more about these sorts of things.
Okay.
So one of them is apparently creepy wizards are a thing, which I didn't know about until last night. And they said you would know more about what sort of things they did and whether we should be worried or not. Oh, they seem very worried for what it's worth, but it just sounded silly.
Well, for starters, they're probably not as worried as they should be.
Oh, really? Oh dear.
Well, let's put it this way: the mages, and this isn't, as I said to Moses, this is not something I have exclusively studied very much. It
Right.
is a very niche area
Yes.
of expertise,
Right.
and I imagine it's not something they're encouraging neonate to find out a lot about anyway.
Okay.
But it goes without saying that most mages, especially one that seems to be powerful enough to do what they've already described, is on a level with most kindred elders, possibly higher in terms of their power. So it's absolutely someone we do not want to offend any more than we already have. And also, the things they're capable of doing
Yes.
to kindred are infinitely less pleasant than things an elder could do to kindred as well.
So you're saying in many ways they're just really bad, in nearly all ways.
Certainly not someone you would deal with through choice.
Because they were saying that something about going to see them, and I didn't want to see them because that sounded very dangerous.
No, considering your level of knowledge of the subject, it's probably a good idea you didn't go and see him.
Yes, that's what I thought.
I would advise you stay way away.
Well, I'm
from-
glad you say that because that's exactly what I was thinking of doing. I just wanted to check
Trust me,
with
I
you.
intend to do exactly the same.
Good.
As
Oh, well, that's
far
a
as
relief.
I'm concerned, this is a point of contact that he has established with Jim and Moses, and it is their responsibility.
Yes. Oh, well, that's good. No, that's good. There is one other thing. I'll reach when we come to a stop at some lights or something. I'll reach into my pocket for that bit of paper where I've made the sketch of the hands.
Okay.
And I'll kind of hand it across to you and say, now that I've understood that werewolves are real and wizards are real, and
Yes.
obviously we're real, I was wondering if you knew anything about things like that, or whether that actually is just something from films. So it's a picture of some really gnarly, almost bark-like, elongated fingers, extremely long, with like horrible, jagged nails,
Like-
nearly black skin.
End of fingers up here type line.
I mean,
Crazy
it's
lot.
not unheard of for some Nosferatu to possess appendages like this, but I feel like you've already addressed that possibility.
Well, that was what. Yes, Moses said it might be a Nosferatu.
Well, it sounds like I'm going to the library at some point anyway. I can potentially look into it.
Oh, that will be good. Thank you. Like I say, it may be nothing. So I'll carry.
Okay. So you all manage to pull up to Heathrow. Agnes steps out of the car and waits for you.
I head off after Agnes.
Likewise, I just stand by her, like, which way?
Who's carrying the stuff? It's quite it's heavy. It's not gonna be difficult for you to carry, but it's quite noisy. You've got some loose bits and pieces in there.
We probably should share the load.
Yeah, actually,
Quite,
everybody
sorry.
should grab a torch.
Where
and
are
some
we?
spare
Just
batteries.
before.
In Heathrow car park.
So we're in a car park in Heathrow. I was like, can we not do it in the car park? Can we just go somewhere discreet,
Well,
please? And do we have to pay for parking here? What's going on? Why have we stopped?
Yeah, it's,
It's Agnes.
Is
Agnes
this the
just
best
shrugs.
place to leave the cars? Is there no
So we need to leave the
better?
cars here.
I don't drive, so
So this is where we're going to walk to wherever we're going.
yeah, it's not far.
All right, hang on a second then. So I'll go and look at what the parking thing is and go and pay my car up. I'll get the ticket set up or whatever.
How long are you paying for?
Do I have to pay in advance or can I get a ticket and then pay on the way out?
I believe you pay in advance.
on the way out. On
Do
the
you?
way out.
On the,
usually.
yeah, so yeah.
Oh, then I'll make sure I've got a ticket
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've got the ticket.
and I'll display it on my car or whatever.
Okay.
I'll pull out a ticket, get on Will's car as well.
Usually it's like you just go into the parking lot,
Yeah.
you get your ticket, and when you go out, you pay for it.
I can't remember what
You don't have
Heathrow
to
car
display
parking
it.
was in
No, no, no.
2000, unfortunately.
So
Oh.
you get these tickets, you display them in the cars, and then Agnes, who's kind of just like nodding in that kind of impatient way, and they're trying not to be impatient or no, like overtly kind of, finally seems to like, let's go, and then turns and like starts walking off.
And the
I
squad
take-
moves off.
I take my bike like walking as close as I can to the
Okay.
place.
So she takes you around towards, almost as though she's directing you straight towards Heathrow Airport. And then as you're nearing the buildings, she turns off around the side and takes you to one of those side entrances, going inside. And then she stops you, and then she looks at you, and then as everyone kind of follows her gaze over towards Moses, when you look back, she's not there.
With See the Unseen, can I make a check to see if I can still
Yeah.
see her? Is that just... I don't remember what the roll is
I
for...
believe, because you're actively looking, I think it's resolve plus all
Okay.
specs.
I am assuming that she wants me to join her.
Yeah, because she was meeting your gaze, you can still see her.
3 successes.
Yeah,
Okay.
you can see her. She's not moved, she's just wait. Exactly the same stance, exactly as she was, she's just stood in the same place, she's just waiting.
I just put
It's worth noting that she has taken you to the direct point where, unless someone comes around the corner, they can't see her, and it's the blind spot between the cameras.
Okay, since we're here then, I would like to
top the
use...
motorcycle in unseen presence as well.
I would like to use Blood Sorcery 3 to try and increase my blood potency for the trials ahead.
Make your roll.
Ooh.
Does this last for the day, yeah?
It lasts for 8 hours, so probably the rest of the night by now.
Yeah.
Whoa! There's a dice.
Unless you get your critical success.
In which case, it's 2 levels of blood potency. Yeah, it's... How many dice have I got? I should have 6. Yeah. 1, 2... 2 successes.
2. So that's still... What's the difficulty you need to meet?
Can't remember actually off the top of my head.
Let me have a look. Since having a higher blood potency is...
So from my point of view,
If I need
Agnes
to
has
spend
vanished.
willpower, I will.
Yeah.
I'll say, what?
Me too. I just put the motorcycle there, like,
I just look like
Neatly-
I'm zenning out right now.
and then poof.
Jim, what's going on?
I stand in the blind spot and pull out torch, pocket it, and offer a torch to you.
I'm fine.
You sure? You can see the duck, can you?
Yes.
Oh, that might be useful.
Yeah, it is. It's extremely useful. You know, when we went into the after those thin bloods, it was extremely useful. I tell you, in the subway.
Yeah.
You're
What's the name of the
getting
ritual?
Jones.
It's not ritual. It's just blood magic free.
Ah, gotcha. Okay. Well, we'll say for now it kicks in.
I feel
and
like
goes
it
up
might
by
be
one.
equal to the blood potency you're trying to get to.
Yeah. In which case it will go up.
Yeah.
It'll go up to 2, rather than hunt through the books. So you feel as you begin focusing on this slightly blurred outline of Agnes as you're just staring towards her. She's staring at Moses. Moses just suddenly goes from being crystal clear. It's like you're watching him through a slightly faded image. You can make out his features and the rest, but he's there. And you begin feeling a kind of tension pulp through your body, and it's uncomfortable for a moment. It's almost like something's being forced through your veins. And then as that kind of, it's not quite painful, but that stiffness goes through you and then lessens. It almost feels like that hit of adrenaline after something, when you just feel a lot more kind of active. Your body's slightly more responsive to everything you're telling it consciously to do. And there's a briefest of moments and that flush of wakefulness that makes you feel for the briefest of moments like you're alive, and then it just subsides.
And I'll just roll my check for that. And I get a little hungry now. That is one.
Okay, so
I'm gonna.
once
As I'm pulling myself out, I'm gonna crowbar both doors in your mouth. One of these each. Ain't counting them all.
Crowbar.
as you're doing this, Agnes moves over towards the door, starts punching in a code, and then opens it slightly. You just watch as the door kind of shifts. It probably breaks the illusion for you guys, but she pulls it open and then just ushers you in, and then steps in after, and the door closes.
So,
behind
sorry,
her.
what are the other options? You've taken the crate. What else are you handing
There's
out?
a pickaxe
And a shovel.
Really?
Oh.
Do I have to?
And
Someone
your
take one?
torch.
I'll take the pickaxe.
I'll take a torch as well because I can't
Yeah.
see in the dark.
Get a torch.
So you begin dispersing your equipment, whilst inside, just beyond this door, after a stunted corridor, of which it's ended with two grey doors, the one you just come through and the one opposite. And there's a number of doors that line this chamber, but she immediately takes you through the one to the left of where she's come in. And inside's not really a barren room, there's boxes and other items in there, but she immediately beelines towards the far corner, shifts one of the boxes, and then starts undoing the screws on a grate. And then says nothing to you, she just continues going at it. And then she stops halfway through, looks back towards you and goes, "Well, go and let the others in."
Okay, I'll be right back.
And then goes back to start doing the grate.
Just trying to make sure if there are any cameras, where
There's
are
nothing
they?
in there.
No? Okay.
You get the feeling like this is an area that's probably watched in some shape or form, or would be if this wasn't a way into the Warrens. You get the feeling that this is probably an area that they've taken steps to ensure it's not.
Visible, yeah.
Yeah.
Passage. Like traffic.
Given London Heathrow, it's probably that some kindred or another has some measure of authority over this area. But you go out and you all watch as the door opens again, and you begin slipping through. Moses guiding you towards the door that you need to go into, and you're in this room just as she lifts the grate off the wall. She says nothing else. She just goes into the grate.
I get my little tiny flashlight.
This is a very narrow grate. This is going to be uncomfortable for anyone that's not accustomed to going in.
Come on, Foggy.
Foggy goes first and begins following through after Agnes as she starts shuffling her way down through this passage.
And I just start like after him.
Are we very sure about this?
I'm in.
The grate itself is probably no bigger than this, the front of the screen.
I just tell you, well, let's just get this over with. Just start crawling in.
And, Jim
And I
goes
go in.
after.
I go in after Jim. Not willing to be the last one.
Well, I'm willing to be the last one, so I will follow.
Okay. It is very uncomfortable. It is very narrow, and if you have any degree of claustrophobia, it's suffocating. Even for people that don't breathe, which is impressive. But you begin making your way down this passage, and it seems almost for a time like you're going further into Heathrow. And then all of a sudden, the grating starts to descend lower and lower and lower, and there's a few moments where it starts descending at such a rate that you almost kind of have to steady yourself with your elbows against the edge to try and stop yourself from just slipping as you're making your descent. And then it starts to level out, and then it goes even deeper at an even sharper incline. And it feels like you've been doing this for 15 minutes, 20 minutes. It's uncomfortable, it's almost tiring, or would be if you were still breathing. Until finally, just when you're starting to feel like you have absolutely no movement, and there's a mild panic, certainly in your mind, Benjamin, as you're thinking, if I really don't want to continue doing this, how the hell am I going to shuffle back up? And then all of a sudden, you watch as Katia in front of you starts shifting, and she turns and pulls herself out of the grating, and her feet leave your eye line and directly in front of you. I'm assuming you've got your auspex up?
Yeah,
you can see directly in front of you what opens out into what looks to be a stone tunnel.
Watch out. Right down there.
Get the
Look around there.
flashlight.
Okay.
I'm going to be being careful in case these lot start waving these flashlights around and I get dazzled by them. So I'll be generally keeping my eyes down.
If you get one of these beams straight in your eyes, it's probably going to be really
unpleasant.
yeah.
So, what, are we now at the point where it's going to be very dangerous?
I would assume so.
No, for the last 10 minutes or so.
All right. Well, thanks for letting me know.
I thought you might have known anyway, but
Do we have a I don't know. How are we going to? Are we just wandering in? Are we going to proceed in any particular manner?
I watch Agnes.
Agnes is just waiting. She's just observing you. It seems like the more that you guys are talking, the more she's just kind of watching you as though to go, what the fuck? It's clearly she's not used to people outside of the Nosferatu, and whenever she seems to be asking an unspoken question, the person she looks at is either Jim or Moses. She finds it almost subtly amusing that Benjamin's having as much difficulty as he has going down a chute. But the tunnel that you're in is not massive, it's quite narrow, and it is quite clearly forcibly burrowed into what looks to be a shaft system, which does in fact go back up and run the length of Heathrow. But it's almost like it's been purposefully given an additional avenue to take it further down and deeper. Almost like someone's added an additional chute to it. And where it comes out of the wall, you're looking at something that looks very, very old in terms of how dated this passage is. The stonework alone is very chipped, very water-worn, and probably connects at some point into the sewer system. But this is a sizable enough passage, certainly by comparison to the narrow opening you've just crawled through, where you could get quite a few kindred through here if you wanted to. And it heads off into the dark, and she's just waiting.
Is there only one way to go? As in,
Yes.
so it's just we just come out and there is a tunnel ahead of us and that's
Yeah.
it. Okay, cool.
Yeah, they just point in that direction. It's like, shall we?
let's go.
Well, hang on. I know that you've got that look. I'm just going to say that you're all carrying flashlights. There might be something down here that is extremely dangerous.
Yeah.
They'll know you're coming long before you arrive. So, at the risk of hating myself, maybe I should go first and see what's there, because I don't have to carry a flashlight.
By all means.
Unless, Agnes, if she's with us.
No, she's
Oh, sorry.
visible,
I say unless Agnes, do you need the light?
Well, I can do with one if you've got one.
Pass on.
She takes it.
So, if we're now in the dangerous bit, shall I go rather than us waving these lights?
You're
and
pretty
see?
good at hearing things. I think you should go ahead.
Right. Well.
If you scream, we'll come running.
Yes, thank you. That's what I was hoping you'd say. Right,
Maybe not.
I will set off, and I will of course activate Silence of Death,
Okay.
and then I will move through the darkness.
Okay. So,
And that was the last he was ever seen.
Or
his new
heard.
character.
Or heard.
Okay.
Yes, all heard.
So,
No, I'm kidding.
who is going to be leading this? I mean, Agnes is going to be giving direction and helping, but for the
Probably
purposes, because you've got a long journey ahead of you, because as you're having this discussion with her, particularly, she'll tell you. She seems reluctant to tell the other ones, including Jim, but she seems quite open with you about the fact that the warren you're going to is located about halfway between Bracknell and Maidenhead,
Okay.
east of Reading. So you've got a fair while to go, and you know certainly the moment that you're outside of the vicinity of Heathrow, the tunnels start becoming labyrinthine. They are purposely designed to make it nigh impossible for anyone that's not of the clan to find the warrens. So,
Who
wants to take the lead?
I'm taking the lead because we're not in the warrens yet. We're just in the.
So we're not
In the
actually
tunnel.
in the danger zone at this point.
No,
Oh, in that case, I'm not going off ahead.
No.
you're
I'm
still
not-
in the
I'm-
you are still in London.
I'm not telling you that.
Oh, okay,
Oh.
fine. Yeah.
We're not in the
Together.
warrens. That doesn't mean this is not a danger zone. That's why I would rather have you go take point, and then I'll take the lead of the rest
So
of the
we'll
group.
say, if he's taking point,
I think I'm
Yeah.
probably going up front as well.
I'd
Yeah,
like to be in the middle.
okay. I mean, for the people that are up front and helping to guide, Agnes is basically just giving directions. That's about it. She's not eager to step ahead of you guys. She's not eager to just walk off into the darkness. And to be honest, as you certainly know, there's probably a part of her that thinks that if she's walking out in front of everybody, she'll probably lose you. Because these tunnels are made bearable by doing them at speed, which mixed with familiarity means you get from point A to point B really quickly. But if you don't know these tunnels, if you ever do find your way to the other end of it, you're going to waste so much time doing that.
So every time do we come to like occasional like branches or intersections?
Well, depending on how your rolls go. So who's going to be leading?
Well,
Obviously, you will be getting teamwork in the form of Agnes giving you directions.
yeah. So what I'm asking is, so when we get to the point, because what Benjamin's going to do is he's going to go ahead, and then if we hit a point where there's a crossroads or a branch or something, he'll stop, and then we'll find out where. And when she says right, turn left or whatever, then I'll use my spray can to make a mark of which way we've gone, and then I'll head that way.
I just grab his hand the moment he tries to do the first mark. It's like,
Well, why not?
because then whomever can follow us.
But they've killed everybody in there, right?
Yeah,
And we need to find our way out.
yeah.
And what happens if the things in there kill you and Agnes?
Well, the things in
then
there,
we need to find our way out.
the things in there are dead, and whomever killed them was outside. If they're following us, you're leaving them a trail of breadcrumbs.
And they might already know the way.
Also, Agnes knows how to get out, and I have an idea of how to get out of warrens usually.
As he's having that little stop and chat, I'm going to focus for a moment, activate weight of the feather, so I won't move as quietly as Ben, but because I'm way as much as a feather now, I'll move a little bit quieter.
Okay. So, we'll say, are you still taking the lead? Even with her, I'm just trying to get a gauge who's up front, who's basically directing this.
Oh, directing it would be probably me with
okay.
Agnes.
So,
He's basically our radar.
if you make these rolls for me, then this is basically going to be an extended action to navigate your way through them. You will get +2 dice for Agnes and for Benjamin, giving his all specs awareness. So I need from you intelligence plus investigation.
That's not bad actually. +2 dice.
Yeah.
With each roll taking half a night.
Wow.
So is this like an extended thing to get to it? Okay. Can you spend willpower?
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
This is where my
And
willpower will be.
housing, don't forget.
That is a. Well, that's a crooked. Is that a 10? Because it looks crooked.
That's cocked.
Okay. Thank you for being impartial there. Just making sure. Okay, that's 1, 2, 3 successes and rolling willpower. Yeah. 4 successes.
4 successes total.
Yeah.
Okay. So, for about a mile, you are walking just in a straight direction in this faded old tunnel with your boots striking every now and again a pool of very old, kind of stagnant, stinking water. And nothing seems to change, and you seem to lose track of time. If you didn't have your watches, you certainly would lose track of time as you're making your way down. And then all of a sudden, the path branches into about 5 separate tunnels. And as Benjamin stops and then glances round at Agnes, she just stops, looks at them, looks back towards the middle one, and then looks towards the right one, and then just nods for that one. And she directs you down it with Moses at her side.
Sorry, so she's done like tunnel number 5?
Yeah.
Okay. So what I'm going to do instead is... oh, no, actually, I'm not yet.
You're not antagonising
I'm going
just
to...
yet.
No, I'm not antagonising, but I will try and remember. I'm going to try and remember that... And I'll look to see if there's anything distinctive in the tunnel, because I can see it, obviously, fine. So if there's any particular notches or nicks or things that would be...
I
There
mean,
may
the
not be.
tunnels they're not like uniform in shape.
No.
So this particular tunnel is slightly wider than the other ones, but it's squatter.
Cool.
So
I'll hold
So you
back.
note that, and then she begins leading you through this tunnel, and it's squatted to the degree where the taller of you needs to kind of shift your head at an uncomfortable angle. And you continue down this path for a couple of hours. It is immensely uncomfortable, even to people that that are dead clinically. And it begins veering off down different tunnels. Every couple of miles, there's another split. There's another selection of 5 tunnels. And you're trying to remember which one she leads you down each and every time. But by the time you've reached about your 13th or 14th intersection, it starts getting a bit confusing. You're not even sure if you're going west anymore. But she seems confident. She always does a double take and just seems to be counting them in her head, but then she'll go down another one. And after about 6-7 hours of doing this, make another roll.
I think we're having a sleepover down here tonight at
Yep.
this rate.
Sleep over time.
It's actually really bad.
That is just 3
Leave it
successes.
till last night.
Willpower?
Yeah, well, might as well. I have 3.
For the team.
Yeah, for the team.
It's alright. Jim can spend the willpower for the fighty punch time.
Actually, that's 5 successes now.
Nice.
5 total?
Yeah.
Okay, so 5 added to your 4.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The first indicator that you get that you are nearing the rise of the sun is how slow your pacing becomes, and the fact that even some of the quicker ones of you are often overtaken by Jim that's coming up behind you, even though he's taking the rear. I assume you're still taking the rear?
I am kind of taking the rear
Yeah.
at this point.
Every now and again he seems to catch up to you guys, even though there's a bit of distance between you, and then all of a sudden you come to the realization the reason you're slowing down is your bodies are taking a bit more effort and will to kind of work through. And you come to the realization by checking at your watches that you are about 5 o'clock in the morning at this point. And you are probably a quarter of an hour, half an hour away from your bodies just dropping.
And so, Agnes, let's find a place to
She nods.
make camp, so to speak.
Any chance you'd be able to call some rats just to eat when we wake up?
Now?
Well, I think when we wake.
Yeah. Might as well. Tomorrow.
So you begin settling down in this uncomfortable tunnel, trying to settle yourselves as best you can in the stonework and in the dirt and in the waters. And then before long, you don't even care how uncomfortable you feel. You just sleep.
Jim was probably laid down looking far more comfortable than the rest of them.
Yeah. A rouse check, guys.
This time.
The Lord.
Yay!
Oh,
Yes.
no.
Yes!
Ah! I put away
Reversal of fortune. Oh, no, yeah. I got right. My success. Do we still need the rodent menu?
I think it would be wise.
I think it
I'm
might be a waste of
little
time.
package.
We don't
package
have
of-
long.
No, exactly. We don't have long. And
We don't have long. How do you
mean-
really want to go down there hungry?
Do you want to end up falling asleep in here again?
I think it's probably going to happen on the way out anyway.
I'm a little concerned, actually. I mean, at this point, we could still go back. What I'm saying is, if this is going to take much longer, and we've still got to get back, we might get so hungry. Well,
My point.
Once inside the Warrens, she will know a shorter route to the exterior.
I'll look at Agnes to see if she's nodding at that point.
Like, you have to remember,
I don't
all
often come back
entrances-
this way. I don't know these tunnels.
Why didn't we go Why didn't we go somewhere?
Because the Warrens had been closed off, and this is probably the only safest route she knows.
We will dig our way out when
So
we know where the
we'll have to dig our way into the closed tunnels and then dig our way out
All right.
on the other end.
Well, then we should get going then.
I assume another.
roll. This
No
time
more
you will
willpower.
get +3 dice to it.
Instead of 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
Benjamin,
Hello.
can I have your sheet, please?
Oh, sure you can.
And Benjamin dies.
That's 3
He
successes.
sacrifices.
Oh, do you want to?
Yeah, it'd be easier if I...
The Cillian die, 3 dice. 3 successes.
Sorry, just rips it up.
No,
across the
Benjamin just couldn't take it.
Yeah. Ah, pretty cool, huh?
3 successes.
I don't rip it up. You burn it instead.
Thank you.
3 successes.
Is there any way to kill a vampire?
Okay.
Well, no, anyway.
So
Yeah, I'm not re-rolling that one. That was crap. But I'm not. I'm saving that last
Okay.
roll for last.
you notice Moses ahead of anybody else. Agnes is not spoken throughout most of this. She's only speaking when she needs to, and she seems. At first, you take it just as her being somewhat aloof, but it seems like the more distance you cover, the more skittish she is. And every time there's a sound, she stops and looks at it, almost as though she's looking at these tunnels and suddenly recognizing them, but not recognizing them in a weird kind of twist that it's like recalling fragments of a nightmare that you can't quite fully understand. And the way that she's kind of looking around, and every single time someone speaks to her, the way she looks at you as though just remembering you're there, it's quite clear that you are making ground, you are approaching, and she certainly does recognize these tunnels, even if she's going down them a different way than she normally does. And as you progress further and further on, she fidgets more, she slows in her pace, and every now and again you have to stop to kind of urge her to come closer so that she can direct you. And your pace slows as a result of it, but you do start gaining ground, and you start recognizing that the quality of these tunnels is, whilst it's not done by a professional crafts team. These aren't tunnels made with safety in mind. These are old tunnels, but they are also tunnels that have been crafted in a manner that you are more familiar with.
Probably like hands or tools that have been potenced.
And it's reassuring in a sense because you know that Nosferatu have been here.
Okay.
And you continue on with renewed kind of conviction. Not saying anything to Agnes, not saying anything to kind of gain more. You're just trying to plow through at this point. I need one more roll from you.
Good luck.
Good luck.
At the same time, can I have a roll of 5 dice from you?
5 dice with hunger.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you want another willpower roll?
It won't matter.
That's with me or with him?
So I got a messy critical with a total of 6 successes. Yeah.
Do I want to?
I slaked
run out of
my hunger on
willpower
the
now?
coterie. I don't know. How does this?
Good luck.
6 successes.
I only had 2.
Okay.
Uh-oh. Okay.
Do I want to willpower?
I'm joking. It's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so you begin pressing further and further on, and it's getting later and later, and you can feel that because whilst your bodies are not as lethargic as they were the last time you became aware of the late hour, you are painfully aware of how long you've been wandering since last you slept. And a glance at your watch suggests it's about 3 in the morning. It's getting quite late. And more you're having to stop for Agnes until finally you come up to a tunnel that splits off once more into 5. And whereas before she has always been very confident in how she chooses which one, this time she just kind of stares at it. And then she realises then that you're all staring at her, and she just goes, I don't know.
We're lost. You just grab her by the arm and pull her to one side.
She doesn't fight it, she goes with you.
It's okay. Whomever did this to all of your brood, they're not here. We need to know which way.
She kind of moves her hair again so it goes in front of her eye and then just looks back towards the tunnels. She looks at the center one and just goes, that one. Takes her hand, her arm out from your hand.
Yeah.
And just moves back
Just
towards.
let her go. And I go through that one with Foggy.
So the state continues to go over you. Jim, are you still light?
So
You still feel light.
Yeah.
Did you reactivate your...
No, I wouldn't have spent another blood. I am
Okay.
obviously.
I did
always...
get someone in the chat saying it was 2 plus your blood potency.
All right. Well, in that case, never mind.
Okay.
But I have obviously passively got sense the unseen. Like I'm always, just in case something's hiding.
Cool. Good to know. Ben, you're feeling numb. You're starting to feel a bit heavier. Starting to feel a little disconnected. It's hard. I mean, given that you've got your senses up all the time, it's very, very jarring just how comfortable it and how reassuring it feels to be able to see and hear everything. And it's almost addictive. In the few occasions where you've tried to disconnect from it, so every single time there was like the scuffing of a stone, it didn't just suddenly rattle you. Every time you tried turning it off and then you're suddenly plunged into darkness, immediately you switch it back on.
Yeah.
And it just feels good in being able to hear and see, and you feel safer, but you also start to feel more and more numb as you're standing here waiting as the cold begins to set in. Moses, these tunnels look very, very familiar in design. You've never been here yourself, but you recognize the kind of structure. Or you think you might maybe have been here once. It's hard to tell with these tunnels, because you definitely came through a series of tunnels to make it into London in the first place. Maybe it was one of these. But you don't recall going to these particular warrens. But then this place is different than America, so maybe you did. And what are you doing? You're going down the tunnel?
Yeah, I'm just going down the way Agnes advised.
Are we all aware that she had this kind of I don't know moment? Or
Yeah,
was
she
that
sent
quite
it to you
something-
all.
Yeah.
Keep an eye on that.
I'll But you're just going confidently off down the tunnel.
Could I, during that little exchange, could I possibly have just tried to gauge, is she being honest? Has she genuinely forgotten, or like, does she know and she's hesitating because of something?
Roll
Something's
wits
off.
plus insight.
It's not that great. But 3 successes nonetheless.
Nice.
She is terrified of coming back here. And you get the feeling that she probably is, after stealing herself, after he spoke to her, she's probably confident this is where you're going. She's not 100%, but she does not want to go back.
I don't kind of see any traces of guilt or anything.
Not that you can see. Then again, she's walking around most of the time with half her face covered by her hair. It's hard to kind of gauge. But she didn't seem terrified. She just seemed reluctant in the extreme to be going anywhere close to this area. Whatever the hell happened here, whatever she can't remember, has certainly made an impression on her. So the moment Moses starts following, she follows off after him. More to keep a close proximity with you than anything else.
I also
Clearly,
follow. Don't be like the two Nosferatu to leave the rest of us behind in the warren.
Okay.
Come, Foggy, come.
Just for the fun of it, everyone. Who's at the back?
I'll be right probably at the back.
Wits plus awareness. You're up front. Wits plus awareness.
I mean, I'll be up front, I would have thought.
Wits plus all specs. Wits plus all specs.
Do you mean wits plus all specs or wits plus?
Wits plus all specs.
Okay.
You've both got it up, so.
But normally a heightened senses adds to observation, that's all.
Well, then, yeah.
Which was the winner?
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
So wits plus awareness plus all specs, yeah.
4 successes.
Nice.
Okay, 1, 2,
1.
3, 4, 5, 6 successes.
Nice.
Okay.
4 successes.
Okay. So, you begin making your way down this tunnel, and it is getting narrower and narrower. It's getting, again, hard to move. Your bodies are slightly folded as you're kind of half lurching forward to make your way down this tunnel. Moses is in the front, and he glances back every now and again to make sure Agnes is there, and she's hot on your heels. She does not want to be there, and that is written all over her face, but she is keeping pace with you. And before long, you finally come to a tunnel which is probably about the size of your torso in terms of how high it is, and how wide it is probably the same outwards, but it is filled with quite a sizable rocky debris. It's not a single piece, it's like multiple ones, but the way it's crammed in with significant force is there is very little you can do to get through this. It's like it suddenly comes to an end, but it's quite a obviously artificial end. And as you're kind of stopping and observing it, roll wits plus investigation.
Can I help with that?
You're at the back at the moment.
Can I help with that?
Yeah, you can.
So you can have an assistance dice.
Yeah, you're still bringing up the rear at this point.
There's no supernatural rock to see the unseen.
That'll be 4 successes again.
Nice.
4.
Yeah.
Okay. You're observing this, and it becomes apparent to you that whilst there is scorch marks on this rock face, they are slightly on this side of the tunnel. And the way that you look at it, it doesn't make sense because the flames wouldn't have been able to come through. This rock has been moved since whatever happened. And you're observing this as Katya's watching and as Benjamin's kind of pointing it out from behind. And Katya, as you turn and look back towards Jim, you stop and stare at him. And you see that you can't see the edges of his outline because there is a shimmering around him. And then it takes you a moment to realise that the shimmering is not around Jim, it is around something behind Jim. And just before you open your mouth to say anything...
Oh crap. Ow! And I wear as much a feather at the moment, so this is going to go very well.
All back to Heathrow, mate.
Well, the good thing is that you're going to take 0 damage from flying and colliding with whatever.
I'll take no damage from that.
Jim looks at you, kind of confused, and just as he's about to turn, he suddenly stops. And then he glances down, and his shirt is tented. And then the tent grows, and then it grows into 2 points, and then into 3, and then into 4. And then the fabric rips as long, black, sharp needles come out of his chest, followed by a palm, followed by an arm, an impossibly long arm, as he is speared through the chest.
Fingers like that.
And then around the side of his head comes an impossibly unsymmetrical, lopsided, dark, red-eyed, long-jawed face. And it just looks over, and the jaw just... as it just watches you. And then it bodily picks Jim up and slams him into the wall. You take 8 points of unhalved superficial damage.
So that's
just like
4 for the win. Is that the alder?
And then it slams him into the wall.
No, I'm asking about.
And then as it
the Nosferatu.
pulls its arm out, it looks over towards you all, and then looks past you, to you and Agnes, and Agnes's face just suddenly freezes. And it begins bounding forwards.
Do I recognize him?
No.
Okay.
You do not recognize whatever the fuck this is.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so right.
Alright.
Okay, surprise has just happened.
Oh shit!
You feeling
Ow!
surprised, buddy?
So that was 8 and half, so half and 4.
No,
No.
not half.
Oh, that was
8 points.
8 points. Alright.
Are you full?
Yeah.
Almost!
Okay.
Oh yeah, because
Ridiculous, yeah.
no, because claws.
Yeah.
You
But
don't
you can
have
heal
that much.
during your turn.
Okay.
I
So
don't need to.
close combat already engaged. We skip past that. It's no range combat. It's moving into range of Katia.
Fuck.
So, Katia, are you dodging? Or are you going to try and take a swing or do something in response to this creature that's
Okay.
bounded toward? It is filling this tunnel. It is its size in terms of width. It's about 1.5 meters wide.
Yep.
It's filling this tunnel, and it's hunched with its head almost halfway down its body. The way it's moving, it's kind of half shuffling, half bounding like a frog down this tunnel with impossible speed. It's cleared the distance between you and Jim in a second, and it is on top of you. You can smell the vitae and the gore on this long claw, which is semi-dragging, semi-digging grooves in the side of this tunnel.
I'm gonna die.
Alright, I am going to dodge for this turn.
Okay.
I do not want to get hit. I've got many dice. Is it worth rousing?
I would say yeah.
Yeah, because like 8 points literally would kill me. Well, not kill me, but I wouldn't be happy.
It
so
will
I'm gonna
torporize
rouse.
you.
Because I had extra dice. Oh, if only I had the thingy. 1, 2, 3 successes.
It bounds towards down the tunnel, and as you step back, trying to shift out of its way, its claw just grabs hold of your throat and slams you against the wall. Not once, not twice, but then 3 times, and you can watch as the side of her face is slowly caved inwards, and then it drops her and slumps, and its eyes are still on you as it shuffles forwards, its long hands clawing. So that is 7 points of superficial unhalved.
But the wall did the damage.
Alright. Okay, we'll say it goes down to 3.
Oh.
This is me being nice. It won't happen again.
Why?
The wall did the damage. You have to reason it out.
Okay. So, what do you guys want to do?
Can I borrow a pencil, please?
Agnes?
You've got nowhere to run.
No,
No. I grab Agnes and try to stand in front of her, but I'm going like, what is that? Like, I'm just gonna use this turn to prepare to die as I try to get information.
Okay.
Actually, no. I position myself, asking Agnes, but right in front,
says-
like in a line between that thing and the rubble thingy. And I'm ready to jump up.
There is silence from behind you. And then as you kind of look around at Agnes, you realise that the paleness in her face is become worse, and her eyes are rolling back in her skull, and her fangs are suddenly bared, and she turns and throws herself at the rock and just starts clawing, and her claws are coming away bloody from the sheer exertion of will that she's doing, and the perseverance that she is throwing, and the inhuman kind of gurgling, hissing, growling noises that she's making. She is lost to the beast, and if you touch her, you're probably gonna...
Could you re-describe quickly the chamber we're in? It's
very, very narrowed, so you're semi-hunched,
Okay.
and it comes down towards a point that is just filled with rocks.
Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide.
We
Cool.
just fucked.
I'm going to be
At least I saw it.
bringing
Yes.
up claws, and I'm going to be chucking myself at this thing.
Okay.
Throw myself at this thing.
I just go.
So rouse
We
check.
come in peace.
Rouse check for the claws.
Don't bother dodging.
And I don't go.
I literally try to talk my way through
Okay,
in every single
so-
language I know.
Hang on.
You're getting your claws out.
Claws out, yeah. Rouse
Okay,
check.
and then you're going to be moving into engage.
Yeah, I'm moving into engage.
What are you doing?
Me.
No, I'm going through everyone just so I can
okay.
array you in the order you're supposed to be.
I'm gonna try and like unpeel myself from the wall a little bit. And in a bit of a futile effort, but just trying to slow this thing down. Forget.
Okay.
Is this gonna be one of those contested rules?
Okay.
Please forget.
So Benjamin obviously sees that this thing blocks the whole tunnel, backs into this thing, we're in deep shit. So what he's going to do is he's going to remember what Edmund told him, which is that he can push his senses
Flashback.
even further than normal if he really wants to try and get some kind of to really get an insight. So he wants to try and get some kind of insight into this thing by pushing his senses. So I'm going to activate premonition.
We haven't seen this one before.
Oh, this
Okay.
is new.
Okay.
I have to rouse for it, but
Okay. Yeah. We'll do that in a moment. What are you doing? You've called out towards it. What else?
I am. Well,
Because this is going to set the initiative order. At this point, it's just kind of been a flurry of activity as everyone's come aware of what the fuck's going on.
I'm just getting ready to I'm talking to it. I'm ready to dodge sideways by,
So you're trying to dodge out of the way.
I'm gonna try to dodge out of the way using actually soaring leap, actually trying to smash myself against the other wall, going across, not hit myself.
The tunnel itself is very narrow. You're literally going to be
really?
thrown. Yeah.
Oh no, then I just bite it.
Okay. Right. So it's
mean,
currently
if it's-
engaged with Katia. So I'll
if
say
it's no
Katia's
room.
going first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was now. Its attention was on the Nossies.
Yeah, but it's stood
Oh,
right
yeah,
next to you, so it's within engaged range with you. So you want to try and make it forget?
Yeah.
Okay, so make
Wait,
your roll.
because I'm jumping
Success.
next.
Now you remind me
Like-
what the. Because you get for this. Is it manipulation or charisma?
it's charisma,
Use charisma,
and it is
Charisma dominate.
Dominate,
Yeah.
yeah.
Also. Cool. 1, 2, 3 successes. I mean, I'll spend.
4 successes.
No, it's
it's
1, 2,
radius,
3.
sorry.
I'll spend a willpower to roll one more. Why not? I have some to spend. No, 3 successes.
Okay. You yell this out, and you feel the globules of blood and drool
Ah, fuck.
just dropping out of it, and it steps over you, and you feel a sharp pain go through your foot as it steps over you. The amount of weight behind this thing is incredible, but you don't hear it moving. It just almost seems to glide down this tunnel, and it steps past you just as you rush in
Yeah.
and
I've
you make
dropped
contact. So make your attack.
With feathers, so
This will be two-way,
yep.
but you will gain an additional 2 die because you're doing it from behind. Also,
2 die for that, and I will willpower.
So
good
far
idea.
you've got 1, 2, 3 successes.
Yeah, I need more.
Is his attention split at this point?
That's 4
Oh yeah, it might have to
successes.
split its dice pool. If it wants to kill us all at the same round, I mean.
it's not attacking more than one person in this round. It made its attacks, came to the round, and now it's just
Yeah.
making a beeline for you. This is just the response it's doing to the
That's
attacks.
4 successes.
Okay. It's tied. So you sink your claws in, and they vanish into what feels like black tar. And then as you kind of look down and realize just how impossible this thing seems to be, it doesn't hiss so much as it turns and just stares at you, grabs you by the jaw, and just wrenches it down. And you feel your jaw split and the skin split as you're given a makeshift Cheshire grin as your
Oh,
jaw just
beautiful.
hangs low.
Jeez.
And there's almost like a mirror image between you and it as it hisses at you and shoves you away. So you will take 3 points of superficial damage, not halved. It took the same amount. And then turns back towards looking at Moses and continues pushing on.
My thing is now full.
So you're
Okay.
going to start taking
My attack is
aggro.
Have you taken
I
aggravated?
have taken 2 points of aggro.
Right, then I need a d10 roll from you.
Oh shit. I shouldn't have gone to the back, should I?
Well, in some ways you should, because if one of us was at the back, we'd be dead by now.
Yeah,
That's a
I'd just
4.
be gone.
Yeah, me too.
What did you get?
I got 4 on the dice.
A 4.
Plus
That's
the
a
2
good-
aggravated
The lower
by
the
6,
better
I
when it
think.
comes
Yeah,
So
that
you are
is
now
good.
stunned. If you want to act in the next turn, you need to spend willpower. If you have no willpower, congrats, you're stunned. And it continues moving forward. So, Benjamin, make your roll.
Okay, so what do I roll? I roll.
What's the name of this
all
ability?
specs and
Well,
resolve.
it is the last one
Premonition.
before Christmas. I guess the
Premonition.
All
Christmas.
specs
Okay,
and resolve.
so make your resolve roll.
So the Christmas present for the viewers might be some new characters in the new year.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. So, critical win. So that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 successes.
Nice.
Okay.
Oh, I need to rouse as well,
Yeah.
unfortunately. No! Why? Just when it was looking good.
Okay. You are staring at this thing, and there is that numbness that washes over you again, and it washes over you again. And you're looking over towards Jim from behind as that grin, and then it suddenly seems to snap up. And he's just kind of looking at you, and you hear Benjamin, and then it suddenly snaps down, and then the thing just moves past you, and you're just pressed against the wall as you're watching it go past, and it moves towards Moses as he tries to impose himself in front of a screaming, snarling Agnes, and as it reaches towards Moses, it grabs him by the neck and just begins pulling and pulling, and you can hear the straining of skin and muscle, and then his head comes away, and then you hear, Benjamin, and then you blink, and you're looking at 5 tunnels in front of you, Moses off with Agnes, Katia looking around at you trying to get your attention, and you're just staring at these 5 tunnels in front of you.
What?
You are back in the tunnel.
Time has rewinded.
No,
Oh,
you had a
that'd be-
premonition.
That'd be insane if it had.
Welcome to your critical win. Your messy critical, as it were.
Oh, that was the messy critical.
Yeah, you just seen the future, sure.
So, but that wasn't a messy. That's the other messy critical.
The other messy critical.
I'm really confused. So,
Welcome to the world of the Markavian.
all right. So
Everything that you guys have suffered in that tunnel, erase.
Yeah, I thought this was the case. Basically,
Oh.
reality branched off with that
Oh.
messy critical.
Oh.
And then all of this has been your premonition.
Because,
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I'm not confused.
and you see Agnes kind of look back over to the tunnels,
And me
Move her
pulling
hair in front
aside,
of her.
Probably.
moves her, yeah, she's already off with you, she moves her hair back in front of her face and then nods towards the middle tunnel. It says that one.
I'll go. No. We should. No.
Agnes looks around at you.
It's like, oh my God.
No.
I grab him by the arm and pull him aside, just as I just did with Agnes. It's like, okay, now I have 2 people losing. It's okay.
No,
Is this like one of his regular
there's-
panic attacks?
There's something down there. There's
Roll
something.
Wits plus Insight.
We need more of that. 2 successes.
Not really. I mean, he has panic attacks often, but he is
Listen, if
he
we,
is having kind of like a fixation.
Yeah.
At the moment.
if we go down there, we're going. There's going to be a blocked-in passageway, and there's going to be bricks that have been packed in, but they have fire marks, burn marks on the wrong side,
Whoa.
and something's going to come from behind, and it's going to have those fingers, the ones in the picture I showed you, those fingers.
Breathe.
No, I'm not going to breathe. I don't need to breathe
immediately
anymore.
start looking around.
And-
Looking around as well.
And it has,
and
and it's going to destroy you, Moses.
Roll Resolve plus Allspecs.
It's
okay,
Look around as well. 'cause
it's going to destroy you.
What's plus minus?
You're freaking me out. It's okay. we haven't been
We can't.
into that
If we go,
passage.
no, if we go down there, I'm telling you. If we go down there, we will not come
Nothing.
out. There's no room.
Just
The passageway is too narrow, and it goes for you and Agnes.
What goes
Agnes,
for me?
Agnes has seen it before. Agnes knows it. Agnes, she loses it, and it's awful. And we have nowhere to run, and I think we will all be destroyed.
Okay,
Oh,
okay.
crowbar.
Hang on a second.
I know this sounds ridiculous, but I'm very convinced of this. I'm not just, making this up or getting a bit spooked by the shadows, because I don't see any shadows. I can see perfectly, and I'm telling you, this is going to end very badly for all of us.
Come from?
I believe you. Okay, we all
What?
believe you. Where does it come from?
Behind us, we go down there, and there's a blocked-in tunnel, and it looks like someone's blocked it in, but it also looks like someone has blocked it in since the attack. And
I approach Agnes while he describes
You're
it.
saying it's a trap of some sort.
She is
I-
just staring at him as she's listening.
I'm saying that there is a thing there, and it is almost as wide as the tunnel, and it has these long fingers, and it puts those fingers through Jim from behind.
Jim, I suggest you ready
And-
your pickaxe.
And
He is the pickaxe.
no, Jim would. I mean, if it was me, that would be it. But Jim carries on moving. It's just that it's. I mean, I don't know. I don't think we can stop it. I don't think we're strong enough. I mean, it's probably the thing that killed all of the Nosferatu down here.
Agnes, does that make any sense to you?
Where's the picture? Where's the picture I gave you?
Oh, sorry.
These Agnes. I'll show her the picture. Have you seen this before? Terrifying.
I'm not buying it because there's no way you can know what's gonna happen in a tunnel we haven't been in. I'm not like Moses is like, what's going on?
She's looking at you like you're fucking crazy, but it's marred by the terror that she's feeling, and you are not helping, and that is quite clear from the fact that she is breathing without meaning to, and you can see that her complexion has brightened, and she's, for whatever reason you don't understand, she's activated Blush of Life, and she is breathing on like she's hyperventilating, and she's backed herself against the corridor behind, and she's just kind of staring at you.
Can I try and calm her down? Like, Agnes, listen. The more we know about whatever this is, the more likely we're all going to get out of here in one piece, okay? We need to know as much as we can, please. I know it's hard, but just tell us what you know.
In
Can I roll
charisma
a
plus persuasion.
With negotiation?
Yep.
Yes.
Adding extra dice is always good.
One, two, three. Wow, for 8 dice, that's absolute shit. I'm gonna spend a willpower point to just roll 3 of those.
Is that a dignity spend?
It's a dignity spend. That's another 1 success, so 4 successes.
4 successes. Her breathing slows. It doesn't go away entirely, but it slows, and there's still a redness to the unburnt cheek, and there's bloody tears coming down her face, but she composes herself enough. She's looking between all of you. She's blinking rapidly as well, and then just okay. What do you want to know?
He's describing something or someone that apparently you know. Like he just said that whatever he saw, you knew.
Is there a creature down here that might have escaped the fire?
Was there a guardian here?
Are there any feral Nosferatu?
She looks between you and you and you, and then her breathing picks up slightly more. She stops herself from going out, but then it's uncomfortable having this many questions.
I walk around on one of the other tunnels and I go,
I'm gonna place my hand
Which
on
tunnel?
any tunnel. I'm in an intersection of 5 tunnels. I just want spice. Furry spice. I'm gonna be calling rats and then I'm gonna be asking them for favors. Go and check.
Okay.
Check here.
We'll make that roll after the break. We are going to cut to...
Oh god. Oh fuck.
So, I will cut over to you guys.
Whiny, wibbly, wobbly.
So you can have a little bit of a chat with people. And we'll be back in about 10 minutes, guys. Thank you.
Okay.
So, which board is this?
This is the
Board of the Living.
Oh, Board of the Living,
Slash
okay.
Undead.
So the main addition to the Board of the Living is the Poacher. The Poacher, who we don't know who they are yet, but they are...
We might never.
We might never, but they are definitely on the board. And I think... Oh, yeah. Where is he? And, of course, the Smiling Man, who we met last time as well. So, I think those are the only additions to that board. It's a bit vicious with pins on the back. So watch yourself. And there is also an addition to the Board of the Dead, although not a giant one. So, on the Board of the Dead, we have Mullet Guy, who was the guy who was killed by the Poacher, who we don't know.
So basically, Mullet Guy's body was the one the Smiling Man agreed to get rid of.
Yes.
Hence its semi-importance amongst all the other bodies that have piled up
Yes.
throughout the course
Yeah.
of this chronicle.
And I mean, he's on the Board of the Dead because his death is like sort of the catalyst of Jim ending up giving a little bit of his blood.
And it may also be that over time there are going to be the poacher may well kill more people in our domain, so that's kind of a key story feature.
So we want to go with shoutouts first. Malop.
Just do Malop.
Malop. So we're going with Moses' amazing list of places. Thank you very much to the people that have been letting us know where you were watching us from. So to add some people that were in chat last week, so adding to the already nice list of people from the US, from Los Angeles and Sacramento and San Angelo, Texas, we have people from Florida. There's people from Germany, now I'm saying it, but there is someone who said that they were watching from, and I'm gonna mispronounce this, Siren, I believe it's pronounced. Thank you very much for watching, and please, to our Swedish viewers, do not make fun of me when I say that our friend watching from Sweden, from the West Coast, and author of some of our fan art is from, I believe it's pronounced Uddevalla, and our other Swedish viewer is from Öland. I hope I did that right. Thank you very much to all of you. Thank you very much to the people here in the UK as well, from Newcastle, Manchester, and London, and people from Canada and Brazil. Thank you very much for being with us. Remember, #Malab on Twitter, or right where you're watching us from, either in the YouTube comments or here in the Twitch chat. Thank you very much.
Are there any questions?
Yeah. So we've got one from Lavrentives. My question would be, what are issues with having characters from different time periods in a modern setting? So is it more of a problem than a good addition? And what should a player think of if playing such a character?
That's a good question.
That's a good question. My personal take, I'm just going to be brief on this. My personal take is that having different characters from different historic periods, if you're playing vampire, poses a couple of questions. Like if you're talking about having a coterie made out of people from the mid 40s, people from the early 2000s, and then someone from the 1890, you have to think about, why are they together as a coterie? How come they're not going to be necessarily all in the same sort of power level? Just to put it in mechanical terms, a vampire that has lived 100 years is, at the very least, slightly more knowledgeable and powerful than even the strongest of vampires that was embraced in the last 10 or 15 years. So I think that would be the struggle, to try to balance it out. There are some ways, if you have, for example, at least one anachronistic character that has had the awful, I don't know, off the top of my head, the awful experience of being buried alive and permanently in torpor for the last 50 years, then you can have someone that, or 70 years, you can have someone that was embraced during the Prohibition era, and then just wake up 70 years in the future, Captain America style, but not as good looking. That's my take. I don't think it's going to be a huge struggle. Maybe mechanically if you want to balance it, but if you want to make him people from different time periods, you just have to get into the mindset of the character you want to play. I don't think it's going to be that much of a complication.
Doing a bit of research for the time period, what they would have known is always a good idea. So doing a bit of research for what your characters would know, I think with any role-playing game is always an idea. So I know, for example, Cars, he has done a lot of extensive knowledge on the underground network in London and all that, which we've looked at and gone, how the hell did you find all this information? It's really amazing. Yeah,
a little bit of research goes a long way when playing a character. So
I think as well that there's a thing about mindsets, it certainly feels like a lot has changed just in the last, say, 20 years, hugely. And so if you're playing a character who grew up in the 1950s or the 1960s, unless they're adapting with the times all the time, even someone born less than 100 years ago could have real trouble if we think about how the modern world, I mean, obviously this Chronicle is not run in the current year, and that's kind of fun too, actually.
because we're here having to try and remember what it was back like in 2001, which for a couple of
here
us
we go.
is slightly harder to remember than others, being as age-wise, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's also as he said, like try to imagine someone who's 80 years old right now, and ask them to send out a tweet. That's the mindset. Like even the most tech savvy grandpa or grandma is gonna struggle a little bit because they lived and they were raised in a totally different environment, and some people, even though they tried, cannot keep up with changes that fast. Of course, vampires would work slightly differently because you can choose not to adapt to the new era.
Yeah.
That's it.
And also kind of political attitudes and attitudes to, gender and race and all kinds of things, which are, it feels like are changing, quite rapidly at the moment. And if you're someone, you only have to watch a film from the 80s or read a science fiction novel or fantasy novel back in the 50s or something and see that some of the prevailing attitudes were radically different to now. And yes, it's possible you might play a really cool vampire who's kind of modernising, but actually the likelihood is vampires are going to be much more stagnant than human beings are. So
it is worth noting though that obviously you need to think of like the rest of your party.
Yeah.
And if you're playing an old vampire and getting a kick out of being an asshole, and the rest of your party aren't very comfortable with that, then that's not really like the best way to play it. It is a game at the end of the day, and everyone's like a constructive story. It's definitely something that's worth bearing in mind, but there's no one's gonna enjoy the game more if you overplay that aspect. Like there's a lot more to your character than that.
And certainly, saying, oh well, I'm playing a character from the past, so it's okay if I do all this stuff.
I've seen a lot of instances of players like, oh yeah, well my character's from this place in this time period, which means of course they would do this horrible thing. I was like, well, you're just getting it.
But one of the good things about V5 is that's very much built in for those of you who've got the book, talking about this stuff being kind of front and centre when you're deciding what to do.
Yeah.
Having said that, it's also, we're talking about kind of recent history vampires, but there's also, options for setting up, doing like gothic vampire settings and things like that, which can be a lot of fun as well.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
The other one would have been if you have any standout moments so far.
Standout moments for our characters?
Or if you have any standout moments from the sessions or anything like that within the episodes.
Well, I had a few laughs.
Maybe book 2 for now.
So book 2 so far standout moments?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. When Moses, like last session, when Moses managed to get Jim's blood and not his, I was like, like Moses probably feels a tiny teensy little bit bad, but it's more like the relief he feels is so much more.
Yeah.
And as a personal note, I think it was like a truly kindred-y thing to do. It's like, I'm not giving you my blood, he's giving you his blood, and I'm gonna just make him believe that. So I think that was like a little bit of a highlight, standout moment, where the first internal betrayal, sort of speak.
Because after that, we as players, we did hug each other afterwards. Go, it's all the fun of the game because it's
I love you, but
it's a game of the day.
But I'm not giving my blood.
Yeah.
How about you guys?
How about you?
It's nice. I don't know if it was a standout moment, but the scene last week where Moses and Jim were trying to hunt the rats, and it all just felt like it was just hilarious when they were just scoring. Like the aim was to lower their hunger, but they kept getting injured, and I was just that killed me. I think it was something.
I will put it. Both ended up one hunger.
It somehow worked out fine, but I was sort of expecting him to come back on like hunger 5 with aggravated damage and
Me
stuff.
too. At some point, I had like a lot of superficial damage and like more than the hunger I could have.
So yeah, I don't know about standout exactly, but I had a lot of fun with that.
How about you?
I must admit, one moment that stuck with me that I found hilarious was Moses' conversation with Alicia, just watching him
yeah.
die inside during the
Yeah.
conversation.
That was
most
I
entertaining.
was so terrified. Like she's gonna kill me.
yeah.
That's it.
Oh, for me, it's difficult because for me, as I said, first time playing this game alongside some really experienced and really good players, I'm just going, I'm enjoying every moment of it, but it's all bloody terrifying. It's great. It's kind of both those emotions, which is one of the reasons I'm still going. But yeah, a single standout moment. There's been, I think they've all ones I could say it could be a standout moment, but I don't think I can pick one above the rest of the moment.
What about the moment when all of your injuries turned out to be a...
Yeah.
That might
Oh
have
my
been a
god,
standout moment.
That was a pretty good moment.
I tell you what, I was looking going, oh my god, I have my health might almost double these guys, and it's like that first stack almost filled it. Like I have 1 point left. Oh.
So in a way, all our lives have actually been saved today by Benjamin.
Yeah.
By,
Well,
by
maybe.
deciding
So
to
far,
roll.
we're gonna so far.
We're gonna get to
1 in 5 chance, guys. We're
We're
on the wrong tunnel.
We're going to find out pretty soon as well what Tidus' theory of time is. Is time immutable? Can time be changed?
Well, we haven't
you didn't
got,
scroll
we
back in
haven't got
time,
any
you had a
true
vision.
Bruges,
Or is Benjamin
so
just insane? I mean, you know,
why
He's
not
Mount
know?
Cavian,
No,
of
that
course he's insane.
no, he's not.
There's no rollback of time.
Turns out he was a true Bruger all along.
Exactly.
Best time to get a messy career.
Yeah.
So
That was a great use of it, by the way. I have to say. That was
So
very cool.
last week we had in the chat someone that was asking about the La Sombra and Upton Aberration. I haven't had the read about the new discipline and the new clan, Sabbat clan, but I did read.
But they're not really Sabbat anymore.
Yeah, so that's
there is that.
something there. But I did read on the chat when I was checking it back home that someone was asking also for the followers of Set and the Setites, and then there was a little conversation also including the Banu Hakim, formerly known as Assamites. So far we have had the 7 clans of the Camarilla, so Gangrel, Tremere, Malkavian, Nosferatu, Toreador, Ventru, and Bruja. And in the Camarilla book, they talk about the Banu Hakim, the Assamites, and in the Anarch book, they talk about the followers of Set, now called the Ministry. So as far as I think we were having conversations once we had our first read of V5 as to how the disciplines, how they portrayed the disciplines in the core rulebook could work very well for creating a Banu Hakim character with a celerity, obfuscate, and blood sorcery, because some of the former discipline of the Banu Hakim or the Assamites, which was Quietus, was sort of broken down into some aspects of obfuscate and mostly blood sorcery. They did something similar with the followers of Set, with the Setites or the Ministry. And after giving a second read to the disciplines on the core rulebook, they are not getting any new disciplines or crazy stuff. It's gonna be protein, obfuscate, and presence. And once you reread protein, instead of like protein 2 will allow you to throw out claws, massive ones, or dagger-sized fangs, which would be something related to that. You could turn into a giant snake, which was something that Serpentis, the old discipline, could do. And instead of becoming mist, you could have your heart move around your body, similar to what Serpentis 5 could do. I think they only added one presence 1 amalgam power, which you would need protein to have, which was the eyes of the snake that would petrify someone with your serpent kind of gaze. I think they did a really good job into creating this the mechanically with the system and the disciplines and having powers for every level, and I think it gives a lot of depth to many character concepts, and allows you with a smaller pool of disciplines that are very versatile in and of themselves to create all of these very great concepts of vampires. So kudos.
I think it might also be worth noting that in the B5 core rulebook you can also make cative characters that has layout for that, and thin blood. So if you want to play a thin blood campaign, yes, that's something you can certainly look into.
Yeah. So far out of the clans we have received 9, and I'm just crossing my fingers for the La Sombra, and let's see how this turns.
And in answering that question as our first guest player, Jenny Lux's response to the same question is her favourite moment was the Moses dance.
Well, which one? The tango?
I think
or
just
the bloody
in general, the dancing of Moses.
Okay, yeah, because one was a little bloody.
Any more for any more? Excellent.
Did you have shout-outs?
We do, but I'm just thinking about time. whether we
Yeah,
need to
no, crack on with the showers.
Okay,
We'll
yeah.
jump
It's
straight
like
back into it
this
afterwards.
Yeah, okay. Shall I go
So-
first? We go.
Yeah. So again, we went to Dragonmeet, and for those of you that have been following our website, you have probably seen parts 1, 2, and 3 of our adventures when we went there, and we wanted to give a quick, nice shout out to the Mindjammer and the people of Mindjammer. We actually met Sarah Newton, who is the writer of the novel, and she was the one who just gave us the whole description of the setting and the world and how it works, and it was a fantastic experience to talk to her. And I loved it so much that I just had to buy it.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Check it out, Mindjammer and the novel by Sarah Newton.
So I'm going to give a quick shout out to Arklands, who we met at Dragonmeet, and they are essentially designing a kind of sourcebook world, which initially is going to be for 5th edition D&D, but is also going to ultimately, I think, be also available in its own system. But it's pretty cool, and they've done things like rewritten how things like the magic system works. The races and the classes are all custom made, and one of the nice touches is a lot of your background stuff is now built into where you come from geographically and culturally, rather than just in general terms. So your kind of ideals and flaws and things like that are kind of tied into the places that you come from. The artwork is really cool. They're really nice people. So yeah, Arklands online, if you check them out. They're good folk, and I don't know if they were still doing it, but at Dragon's Meet anyway, they were taking email addresses and generating kind of NPCs in the world for people that wanted them. So
Yeah,
might be worth checking them out and seeing if that's still happening.
That is something we did. Oh. Right. So the shout out that I've got for there is, of course, we were talking with people from doing other podcasts, but the one that I'd like to do a shout out from was at These Flimsy Rituals. They're a podcast. It's only available as a podcast, but I'm thoroughly enjoying listening to it. It's kind of a homebrew system which they're relying on boost dice rolls, relying on the character's current emotional states. So a booster if they're feeling scared or peaceful or mad, just to give a few examples. So depending on how the character is feeling, it depends on if they get a little boost of that. And I think I'm on episode 3 at the moment. But yeah, I'm enjoying listening to that whilst I'm driving. Yeah, so my that's my in-car entertainment. Which, yeah. So look forward to hearing more of that.
Okay.
And I think that is us done.
We're ready to die again.
Yeah, ready to
God.
go second.
You are such an optimist, you know.
Yeah.
A cat's job is to be an optimist.
True.
We're gonna die for the second time.
Well, none of us really died. Well, technically we all died once, so really we're not being inaccurate.
Well, we're just dying again, yeah.
Okay.
True. All ready?
Already.
Welcome back, guys. Not that you left, but welcome back.
Can I ask a question?
Of course.
During the vision, I went to Hunger 3. Am I still on Hunger 3?
Everything that happened during that vision is nulled.
Okay, cool.
So I
Because
still
it
have
didn't
my.
take place. All you were doing is just standing there staring at this tunnel whilst he was having a discussion with Agnes, Jim's there with his flashlight looking around, and Katia was trying to get your attention.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm a little fuzzy. So this happens right before I spend my last willpower point?
Yeah. Everything
Okay.
that happened in that was fine. If he hadn't gotten a critical win, he wouldn't have snapped out of
Did
it.
this happen at this? Because
Yeah.
was this when I rolled the 6
I get it. So
The critical win is what snapped him out of his vision.
Yeah.
So did I roll my critical win just before or just after? Because we were both looking at the same time.
For when you were looking down in the tunnels.
Yeah, we were looking around the tunnels.
Yeah.
Or was that? I can't remember if that was before or
That doesn't
after.
matter.
It was around the time.
Yeah. Well,
So yeah, I'll probably be pulling out a pencil and frantically trying to sketch this nightmarish thing that I've seen.
And I'm just gonna go to one of the tunnels because if that thing is on tunnel number 3 apparently or whatever, I'm just gonna go to I don't know.
sure you don't want me to choose for you?
I will actually try to. You know what? I turn around and go for the one tunnel that we come from.
Okay.
So I know that one is away from the thing because we come from that other side.
Okay.
Meanwhile, I would've-
And I'm just gonna call if at least one rat comes.
So are
I'm
you
happy.
summoning?
Yes.
Okay.
That is charisma plus animalism.
Yes.
Come on, rats. No! Messy critical 6 successes!
You call them, but you eat them.
Messy critical.
Messy critical 6 successes. 6 successes. Messy critical is pretty much all the rats in the area that can listen to the summons that are available. So if there are like 3,
How hungry
all
are
3
you?
come. I'm hunger 2.
Okay. Okay. So you begin making this noise, the kind of noise down, and the way that he's staring down the tunnels, I mean, most of your attention is currently on Agnes and his frantic drawings and the ramblings that are going on. And Moses, your focus is down on this tunnel. And then you hear a squeak, but it's coming out of another tunnel. And without really thinking about it, you turn towards the tunnel and you start moving down towards the tunnel closest towards your left. And you can hear that sound, almost like they're trying to locate you. And without really realizing it, you start moving down that tunnel further and further and further. And then when you finally manage to see a little shape shifting towards you, and you wait for the rat to come up to you, and then you reach down to pick it up, you stop and look back, and you realize that you've gone further down this tunnel than you meant to. And when you look back down it, it branches out 2 ways. Not like 2 separate ways
Yeah.
off, but 2 ways leading back down the same way.
Okay. Let's not panic. How many rats? Just one rat. The one. Okay. Don't panic. don't panic. Using it again does not cancel the one I have, but I do have to do a rouse check for calling rats.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And it's free on my famulus. So I.
Is Foggy still with you?
No! Why did you follow me? Okay. Good fogs. Good fogs. Could you smell your way back to our friends?
It turns, it looks down the tunnel, and darts off down towards the left.
I'll follow you. I mean, you're
Roll
good.
wits plus awareness.
Sorry?
Roll wits plus awareness.
Wits. Awareness. So that's. That is 3 successes.
Okay. You start moving back down to that tunnel, and then you can hear a from behind you, almost like a rock's just been knocked, and you stop and you glance back down the tunnel, and you can't see anything down the tunnel. But then you kind of lean towards the edge, just peering down it, and you can see a very slight outline in the... almost like you're looking at the tunnel as it turns, but there's something blocking the tunnel, but it's not blocking it fully. And you're looking at this thing for a while, and as you kind of watch it, you realize that just around the corner is another end of this, another tunnel end, but it's not fully filled. There's a slither
Is that
that's
behind
not-
me or in front of me?
back down the tunnel, not the way that you've come, but further down, where this rat has come from.
I start talking to the rat. Like, have you seen others in that tunnel?
Can you communicate with animals?
Yes, I can. Actually, that's what.
Okay.
Feral Whispers is the name of it, and I can both summon and communicate with them. It's a rouse check for one summon and unlimited communication. So, and I can actually like ask them to do stuff for me. No. So if I go.
Dead.
Dead?
Dead.
Is there someone there? Oh,
Eaten.
someone eaten. Burned? Fire?
Eaten.
Eaten? Take me there. And I put him on the ground and I start following it.
Okay, it starts going back down towards that tunnel, the one that's blocked. Further down the tunnel that you were heading down now.
Quick, have another
And it scurries off and goes around the corner.
Oh, hold on. And I try to
It
get...
keeps going.
Come back!
It goes up through that slither and vanishes down the other side.
Okay, I make a mental note out of that, of where it went. But I don't proceed forward. I try to reunite with my group.
It doesn't take you too long to go back. You guys all watch as Foggy comes out of one of these tunnels, and it takes you a few moments to realise that Moses isn't there. And just when you're oh fuck, where's he gone? That once Foggy's reappeared, you look up the tunnel and see Moses shuffling back, coming back down towards you, and you rejoin your coterie.
You went off alone? Seriously?
I think I found a way in. But a rat was talking about dead. I don't know if he saw something or someone, or it was talking about the burnt bodies. I'm a little bit confused.
Well, if you found a way through, I don't see any use in hanging around here. We need to keep moving forward.
Did he finish his sketch then?
Oh, yeah. I'm just doing it. Yeah.
It starts coming alive on the page. I mean, doing it in the dark is not the most ideal thing, even with your all specs up. I mean, it's kind of a painful process in that you can hear the scratching of lead on the page as you're sketching through this. And then finally, when you turn it and face it, there is a nightmarish, lopsided, long-jawed, almost maybe glowing type of ice. It's hard to tell when it's just black on white. But especially when you've got a torchlight kind of shining on this page that makes it semi-transparent, but all that he has really drawn is the length of these claws, which compared to the size of the face or the visage of this creature, either he's taken artistic license with it, or these are long ass hands.
Do they look like the hands in his other drawing?
Yes.
Right.
Agnes, do you recognize that?
No.
Is she being...
And you're sure if we
Roll
go
your
through-
check.
Sorry?
Is it's wits insight still, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh.
2 successes.
Okay. Seems to be pretty honest. I mean, she's terrified. You've spoken to her. Moses has spoken to her, but she does not want to be here. She is not good in social situations, and now she's stuck in tunnels with people she doesn't know, going after whatever the hell this is, or whatever things this is that's killed her entire warren. She does not want to be here.
Okay, so
So
if we go through that tunnel, we find that.
Well, what I remember is that Agnes said it was this tunnel, and then we went down there, and then it was as I described. It was blocked off, and it was odd because it clearly looked like it had been almost re-blocked off after the fire, like someone had been in or out or something, and then whilst we were trying to work that out, that thing came up behind Jim, and then everything went really bad, and I. Now that I'm just describing it, obviously it's very strange because we haven't actually been down that tunnel, yet. And I understand that you may think, well, it's dark, and Benjamin often gets a little bit funny.
No, I've read plenty about your plan. I believe you. Don't try and validate
I just
it.
stare at Agnes and like, okay, so which tunnel should we use? Are you still thinking The middle one?
No.
So which tunnel should we use?
You said you found a way?
This thing.
She stares at the tunnels for a long moment, and it seems like her eagerness to be anywhere but here, especially after he's just described and drawn that thing. She's, I mean, even in lead form, it's quite nightmarish to look at. And the way he's been detailing it and spearing Jim and everything else, she's got the motivation to re-look, and she kind of looks from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, back down to 2, back to 5, looks back at 1, and then looks back over to 5, and then just points at both. They both go to the warren.
The one I went
Yeah.
alone.
Yeah.
I say we take that one.
Yeah. I mean, if both of them take to the warrens, I'll go with that. Do I need to do again the roll, the intelligence plus investigation roll that we have been doing?
No.
No.
You are close to the warrens at this point.
Okay. Cool.
You had on the extended roll you had 1 success until you got there, so
Okay.
you were talking like 10 minutes further travel, but there was this last big hurdle to go through.
When
We go through the other one then.
when you say you've read lots about my clan and then you believe me, what do you mean?
Is this the best place to talk about it? We can talk. We can wax lyrical as long as you like once we're out of here.
Are you moving forward?
Yeah, I'm already.
So I'll
at the
move
front.
forward, but I won't be. Normally, I'm ahead of them. I'll just be dragging back a little bit, or in the middle with Catty for a moment. And as we're going, I'll say, well, obviously, not a long conversation. I'm just saying, is there something that would mean this is likely to be true and not me
Well,
being misguided? That's what I mean.
I
Yes or
mean-
no is fine.
yes.
Oh, in that case, I have a very slight confession to make.
Confess.
Well,
Are you saying this in the chamber, or are you walking down this tunnel?
I'm walking down the tunnel.
I'm bringing up the
Agnes
rear.
and I are probably in the front, and he's lagging a little bit.
I'm in the middle, yeah, at the moment.
Rear.
I'm still seeing the unseen, like everyone, like.
Yeah, Agnes and myself are.
The reason that I showed you a picture of those hands was that I thought I painted them, but I hadn't actually painted them. I'd sort of seen myself paint them, and in the painting they were doing terrible things to Moses, and then in this vision I've just had the same things happen. So I'm just starting to think that maybe there's something in that. That's all.
Maybe Moses is a target, you think?
I'm just saying that when you asked me last time why I raised it, and I said, well, who knows, it could be something I was lying. I didn't want to tell you that I'd accidentally imagined painting them because I thought that sounded ridiculous.
No.
So I'm
really.
just saying that.
Maybe next time, be honest.
Well, this has never happened to me before. I've never done this before.
Well, it's happened. Seems to have happened twice in quick succession, so I wouldn't be surprised if it continues to happen.
I'm just saying, Moses, that I don't know. Maybe you should go while you can. That's all.
Okay.
Don't you think?
No. I'll figure something
From
out.
here, the quickest way out is to find our way into the warrens.
Okay. Right, I'll go ahead then. Right, here we go.
I go into the. I actually guide Agnes into this little last few meters or minutes or whatever in the direction the rat went and scurried.
Okay. You're at the front, yeah?
Yep.
Intelligence plus awareness for me now.
That is 2 successes.
Okay. You get right down to the end of the tunnel, and just like the tunnel that Benjamin's described to you, it comes to a point where rubble and rock has been pressed into it. There is a slither, however, that allows you to...
Allow the rat to go in.
Yes, and the reason that you can see this in the dark, because Jim is at the back with his flashlight, is, and even though your flashlight's kind of dipped, you're inspecting the hole, you can feel a damp, wet air coming from it, and it kind of hits you in the face. And given the stuffiness of and the absolute chill of these tunnels, the change in temperature it registers. And it's a big enough slither where you could slip your hand through, but not much more.
Okay. I ask Agnes, is that one of the many ways in?
She nods.
Okay, so probably someone used it to go in and tried to either gave up and never went through, or They used it and then tried to reseal it.
Is this the one you went through, Agnes? Because you said you squeezed through.
I don't remember.
I'm going to have a look quite closely to see if there are any. Because the thing.
Do the same check, intelligence plus investigation.
Okay. Am I allowed to apply my Auspex dice for this? And what I'm specifically looking for are burn marks on the wrong side of the rock.
Am I able to assist at all?
Assistance, but not your Auspex.
Sure.
The fact that you can see this without a torch is mainly your Auspex.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm going to be turning around.
Intelligence plus investigation plus one dice
for the assistance.
Yeah, okay. 2.
2. Because you're specifically looking for it, there are burn marks which don't add up to the line of this tunnel. They are slightly on this side, almost like whatever's been there has been repacked, but it's not been packed with the intention of keeping what should have been touched by flames, based upon how this has been described to you, on the right side of the tunnel. This tunnel, like the other one that you saw in your vision, has not. This isn't how it was left. Someone has been through here and repacked it.
I'll say people have been back since the fire. This has been redone.
Okay.
So
We need to get through there quickly.
There's option B.
This is our only other option.
Yeah. We have to.
Does it look like a single? More of
No,
a single
this one's probably about like 4 or 5 pieces, but they've been so tightly crushed together that it's basically kind of been pressed and then wedged in. But the slither is just where a chip has come off of one of the boulders or one of the stones, big enough that someone could fit their hand. It's no bigger than about that. You could put your hand through.
Okay, let's try and take it out.
So we want to get the pickaxe on that?
I think a crowbar might be more useful to
Yeah,
lever it out.
this stuff that's been levered in, am I right in thinking that these are like huge, monstrously heavy pieces of?
Not massive.
No.
The tunnels themselves at this point are not big.
Okay.
You're talking something that's probably about the size. The largest one of these is
Manhole cover, probably.
Yeah, you're looking about manhole. The one that you saw before was about the size of a hay bale. The one that blocked in the passage in your vision. These are not big tunnels. They start as wide and then they start to narrow.
All right. So I've got the pickaxe, I think.
Okay.
So I'm gonna turn off heightened senses. And
give it a mighty swing.
I'll give Jim a brief pleading look in case he's going to say, "I'll take it and deal with this." But if he doesn't, I will start trying to,
Give it a go.
Strength plus athletics from you.
I'll put down the javelins. Crowbar.
I'll be keeping an
Everybody
eye
else,
behind us with high
Wits plus
flyers.
awareness.
Awareness.
If you have heightened senses up, you've got
I
heightened
don't.
senses up.
So no, so I've got to see the
Okay.
unseen.
No.
Yeah, no, I don't.
Okay.
So is mine resolve all specs?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4 successes.
I have
5 successes.
3 successes for me.
1 success and a 1 hunger.
Okay.
5 successes.
Okay. You managed to wedge. You're. It's whether it's the concern of being wedged in another tunnel, and you're thinking for a moment. Do I feel? Is this another vision? Am I about to witness other people
Yeah,
die?
fuck.
And as you're thinking through this, you can hear in a distant part of your awareness that ching, 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 ching. And you look down and you realise not only one do your hands kind of hurt, you actually shed away a decent enough hole that you could probably uncomfortably push someone through. The smaller one, maybe Katia, maybe Moses at an angle.
Have fun,
You can
then.
keep going at it if you want to break a wide hole. Over the sound of the din, you can hear the trickle of water on the other side of it. You can hear roughly about, you can hear that. You can feel the breeze coming through. You can hear the trickling. Katia, you see a shadow pass over the far end of the corridor. The corridor looking back down the way that you've come.
Pass across or
Yeah.
pass and then.
Almost like a shadow, is like someone's walked across and their shadow has just been cast on the wall and then gone. But Jim, looking back down that tunnel, does not see the same thing.
There's something back in the chamber. We need to move.
I
Another check.
I want to make the hole big enough for me to get through, and anyone of normal size, because obviously it's all right for the smaller people, but that's not.
Yeah, you've broken it about, you could one at a time get through with a struggle. You can break it wider if you want to get people.
Instead of going through it, I actually with a crowbar, lever some smaller pieces. If
Okay.
he already.
All right. So if you're doing it, do strength plus athletics, and I'll give a teamwork if you're helping him.
So
I mean,
how do you want to do it?
one, yeah.
So do you want to give me teamwork?
Yeah,
I'll give
I'll give you teamwork.
Okay.
Alright.
Since you already have the bigger tool.
3 successes.
Okay.
Thank you.
As he jams the crowbar in between Benjamin's hands and Moses, trying to add in a bit more weight to it, you push, and the part of the rock which is already chipped from the wear of the pickaxe begins to ebb away, and it comes away at a point, so the end of the hole is still narrow, but you've got enough room where you can kind of get half your body through and slowly wiggle yourself out. It's not going to be comfortable, and it's probably going to rip a few clothes in the process, but you can get through easier than you could have a few moments ago.
Okay.
Katia, still watching down the end of that corridor, you see
I go
another
first.
shift.
I go first.
It's not coming down the passage, but you can see a shift, almost like there's movement going on.
Yeah.
Almost like someone is stepping in and then stepping out.
Pretty sure it's weighing up its options, guys.
Or try to listen.
Do you want a bigger hole?
Which,
Or do we
like-
want
Are you having this discussion in the corridor?
No. I just.
If you're not
I'm
going
just.
through- okay,
I
okay.
already went through.
Okay. So you're saying this. Okay, never.
It's literally.
So
I grab Foggy and it's like.
Okay.
Don't make much sound left. As Foggy is pushed
Okay.
in.
Foggy just lifts and you drop Foggy in.
And then
Agnes.
I push. I walk in and then try to help Agnes.
Okay, Agnes eagerly accepts your help and goes through the hole.
pass through the tools?
Okay, so as each of these goes through,
The rope.
looking back in, what greets you on the other side of this passage is a vast chamber, and the size of this chamber is given stark contrast given the narrowness of the passages through which you've been walking for the past, 1.5 nights, and it is high ceilinged, and what you're looking at seems to be a very narrow circular passage, a pathway, which runs the edge of this room, as well as a makeshift wooden walkway which runs from the point you're standing on onto the far side of the room, where other passages branch off. But between this pathway that goes to the edge of the room, between those points and this bridge, there's a drop. It looks more like a cavern than a chamber. And as you're looking down, lifting your torch, you look down, and based upon the way that the light is reflecting, you're guessing there's water down there.
Okay. So that's what I was hearing. Okay, cool. I asked Agnes, okay. So this is one of the many sealed exits. And I start moving my torch around. Do I see bones?
Okay, is everyone through?
I'm assuming we're
I
going
went
through.
through
it.
after Moses, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Everyone stepped through onto this narrow path, and you have to move as well as Agnes to prevent them from knocking you off the edge of this ledge. And you will witness the exact same thing. The path, the width of the path between the hole you've just come through and the edge, you're talking about 3/4 of a meter. It is not wide. And based upon even glancing down, if either of you still have your specs up, you're looking at maybe a 50-60 foot drop before you hit water.
Yeah, I just step over, like jump.
Okay. Not to the other side of the chamber before you hit water.
Yeah.
Downward.
No, just to
Okay.
avoid.
Okay. So as you both step out of the way and everybody files in, you shoot a last look back down into the chamber before it shuts. And the figure that's now standing there, you can't make out the details, but they're no longer bobbing in and out, they're just standing in the chamber, just looking down.
We have company.
What kind of company?
Well, there's a blurry figure looking down the tunnel where exactly we just went, so I suggest we keep moving.
Are you saying you can see them, but you can't tell what they look like?
Alright, let's be a bit more specific. I'm saying that it can make itself invisible the way Moses does, but I can see it.
So, but you can't. But can you see?
I
them?
can't see much detail about it, but it's
Yeah.
a big
Agnes
figure.
grabbed you by the arm and starts leading
Come
you further down the passage, around the edge of this chamber towards another passageway which veers off. She doesn't take you over the bridge to the other side of the chamber, but there's another passage which veers off down to the water side.
I just walk.
As she's walking, she looks over at you and just...
I take lead, so she's not the first one.
Okay. So you can hear her over your shoulder. What do you need? Why? What do we need?
Well, actually, we need to do what Plucky Jake asked us to do.
Okay.
Find out what happened and see if there are any survivors. Is there any place where you could connect to the internet, or anyone would have like servers or whatever?
You can hear from the sounds of her, the frantic sounds of her nodding that she's in agreement, and she kind of shuffles past you. She grips you by the shirt and starts leading you further on, almost like she's afraid to go forward alone, but she starts heading down this passage. And as you guys follow...
So, sorry, before we follow,
Yep.
I want to take out one of those cans of spray paint, and this very narrow hole, I'm going to spray as much of the can as I can until I have to leave, like, around it.
Okay.
So basically there's enough of it that it's wet.
Okay.
In the area where the entrances that we've made.
Okay. So you begin spraying this, and then you hasten to catch up with everybody else. And these tunnels going down, whilst they are sloped, there are wooden planks and cuttings of stone, which almost make it like a makeshift stairway, which makes it clear that people do inhabit this area. And she begins taking you down these series of tunnels, now with a certainty and a sureness, which makes it clear this is part of the warrants.
Do I see everything has been scorched, or is it like is there soot around the walls and the ceilings?
In this part,
since I'm being guided, I take like half of my perception into my surroundings. I want to make sure that if I see a gazillion skeletons burned to a crisp, I can report that to Plucky Jake or to Jim whenever he reports to Plucky Jake.
This entire the entire passage, and the passages through which you guys are woven, and by woven I mean in a literal sense woven, in that your chamber, the passage you're going down splits off, and they almost seem to go up and over each other, almost like they're winding down through different routes. And it's like you're in a...
I quite like the architecture.
It is insane. You go down one passage and there's 3 more branching off. You go down, she leads you down one of these other ones, and it immediately splits off down to passages going on different levels. It's like an ant hive in there. It just goes all over the place, and you're kind of if she wasn't leading you, and if she wasn't confident, you'd be pretty certain that within 5 minutes you'd be lost. But she's moving with a surety and a speed, trying to get as far as she can into this place, and under Moses' direction, she's leading him somewhere specific. But you are all noting as you're moving some key details. The first is that the place stinks. Those with auspex would be able to pick up the faintest traces of petrol. It's very, very faint. There's no stink of it in the sense that it's all over the place, but you can smell it. And you can smell burning, and there are bones littering the passages. Rodent bones. You're pretty certain that one of them, there's, looking with auspex, you can note various insect husks. Mm-hmm. We're not just talking like 1 or 2 insects, we're talking about like a large number of them. And ashes. Piles of ashes in different places. And you note these primarily because it's hard for you not to step in them. And they're not littered all over the place, but they're dotted here and there. And as she begins moving, Agnes does not look down as she makes her way through this passage. The walls are scorched as well.
Are we leaving very obvious tracks?
Do you want to not leave obvious tracks?
Well, I do, but what I mean is, have we already done? And like, is it, or is it that we're about
Agnes
to go
is
into?
not
Like
making an
Agnes
effort
and
to
I-
kind of hide where she's going. She's trying to go quick.
We're already being stalked.
I'll say yes. We're being followed, so we shouldn't make it easy. We shouldn't leave tracks.
Do you want to stop her and start making...
I'll say, Moses, you should make her be careful. We
Like we're doing a V line, because if we finish, it's like just move. If we finish this quick, we can leave quick. Come on.
Right.
Well, I'm
Everyone
gonna-
do me a favour.
Yeah.
Strength plus athletics.
Everybody.
Us?
Everyone.
Yay! That's what I'm good at.
2 successes.
1 success.
1 success.
2 successes.
Okay. It's hard making your way through passages that you don't know the layout of, especially when they make absolutely no logical sense in their layout. The passage that you are going down suddenly doubles back and goes all the way back the way you just came, and that is the passage that you take. And it branches back into the large chamber that you were just through, but on a different level down below. And this time she does go across a bridge which ran so perfectly underneath the other one that you couldn't see it from the chamber above. But she darts across it, and it's the moment you all step onto it, there's a sinking feeling that, oh shit, it's going to drop, because it doesn't feel like it should support your weight, and the way it sways It's like one of those really uncomfortable rope bridges that you're kind of like leaning on as you go across, but she darts across it with Moses with surety straight across it. Moses Foggy follows, but you guys slow slightly as you try and find your footing. Jim less so because he's a bit more, his balance is...
And I wear as much as a feather at the moment still.
Yeah. But you dart all the way across and she goes back into the tunnels and they start weaving again. But you're making decent enough ground in what you are covering. And then finally she stops, looks into a passage and pushes against what looks to be a wooden slat that slides inwards. It is scorched and burnt around the edge, and it's not whole, but it's fallen back on itself enough that it covers this passage, and she slides it out of the way. And inside this room you can see skeletal remains of what looks to be human bones charred, like fully charred, and it's led just before what looks to be an old scorched desk and a hollowed terminal. And there's a few other terminals that dot this room as well.
Okay, I just put like torches. Give me a couple of torches. I start like lighting out, looking for anything that is not absolutely fried.
I'd like to help with this since I've got quite a lot of technology.
We'll say intelligence plus awareness, or wits plus awareness, sorry.
So
wits plus
while they're
awareness.
doing
Does
this,
he get +1 from me?
Yeah, he will.
Okay.
Wits plus awareness.
Yeah.
Plus 1.
so yeah, I'd like to go kind of back to the entrance to this room, and I will be looking, but I'll be looking at the floor in case, because I know this thing can hide that's following us, but I want to see if I see like footprints appearing in the ash coming towards us, or
Oh yeah, it's like
something.
foggy. Just guard.
Okay.
Ears and nose. That's it.
So I'll just be looking
Resolve. No.
Yeah,
What levels of Auspex do you have?
2.
What tiers?
What abilities?
Yeah.
Heightened senses and premonition. So
I say
don't-
wits
I don't-
plus awareness.
Could I help him outside? Jim will be looking. Jim would
Yeah, you can both make rolls.
Okay, so
Awareness.
wits plus awareness plus all specs for heightened senses or not?
Not really.
No.
I mean, the fact you've got all specs is
Allowing me
why I'm
to.
allowing it.
Yeah, that's fine.
1.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4.
4. Okay. What did you?
3.
3. Okay. Most of these terminals are pretty fucked. I mean, fucked. There is one that is in an alcove at the back, and again, all of these different displays are covered with slats, almost like these slats repositioned to give more room or create impromptu kind of desks.
Yeah.
And it's only through moving one of these that you find a terminal which, whilst it is damaged, it's more damaged because the slat has fallen on top of it and some of the weights of the shelving has fallen on top of it as well.
Oh, but
It's not been touched by fire, but
the
it
connection is there.
damaged.
I can even I take my tools, grab a cable, and I just make the connections right there.
And it's through Katia kind of shifting through all this stuff that she manages to assist you, shifting it all out of the way, bringing out the terminal and helping you to find where it's connected up. Because wires run the entire length of the top of this wall. They've been kind of pinned in by metal tacks, which just lock it in. And the entire surface of the top of this chamber is just wires running through, connected to a dozen or so terminals, all of which, bar this one, are just fucked.
While Moses is kind of plugging into the one that's kind of survivable, while I've been kind of helping him look around, have I noticed, have any like physical things, like have any hard drives, are any of them, do them seem to have been like empty or like ransacked or anything?
The hard drives.
Things like, I'm looking for those components essentially in the builds, whether they're missing, because it would be
Intelligence
strange.
plus technology.
Yeah, computers and all of that. I'm with a tester looking for which ones have current and which ones don't, so I can better.
1, 2, 3 successes.
Yes. Most of these have been missing parts, but based upon the damage, you're not certain how salvageable they are. Even if they were taken. If the actual components that are missing are in any way as damaged as the screens and the terminals, you're not going to get a lot from them. But you make a very thorough check between each one as Moses begins checking which of these still
But
has...
there are some missing parts.
Yes, there are some missing. And then you finally manage to find what you're looking for. And you can find that connection.
I go right in, and the first thing I run is my electronic countermeasure systems. I'm not an idiot.
Okay. Right, remind me of the successes.
7 successes.
Seven.
Mm-hmm.
6. 6. Lucky bastard. You manage to watch as your countermeasures just fly across the screen, and it's very, very old styling. It's like watching one of these really, really dated computers where it's just a black screen and just green scripture just flying across the screen.
That's basically how I wrote it.
And you're just watching it, and for a moment Moses is just fixated. As fixated as Benjamin was when he was just staring down that passage, and he's just flying through it. His fingers are just flying over the keyboard, and then he hits enter, and the screen just goes black. And then script just... I assume you are going for anything salvageable.
Anything and everything. I actually have
one file, which is a chat log, which is still logged, therefore it hasn't been switched off, is active, and it is the only thing that you can get that is not corrupted, or that you feel safe enough to take off. Do you want to download it?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Into one of my hard drives.
Okay. Do you want to read it before you download it?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Remember, I ran the script to automate it, so it'll be downloading while I read it.
Now that's exciting.
So I literally kick around, when I connect it, I'm in. I grab my hard drive, connect it, plug it on the side, kick something so I can sit on it, cross-legged.
The one issue that you have, there is no USB port on this terminal. It has a floppy disk drive.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, it's okay.
You brought floppy disks?
Well, yeah, 3. Well,
Good.
not 5 1/4. 3 1/2.
Good.
Okay.
So you've slotted
It's
that
the
in. and we
only
can take
ones
it
I
down.
had.
It's not a big file. It will fit on there. But
Okay, cool.
it just reminds you just how dated some of these terminals are.
Okay.
Valentine and Moses?
Do you want to read it aloud, or are you just keeping it to yourself?
Just give me a second.
Yeah, no, Moses.
Okay. Benjamin, as you've been looking out, Jim is kind of flashing the light back down the thing and looking back in, trying to have a look at what Moses is doing. He can hear the clattering of his fingers. He can hear him say, "I got it," or "I'm in," and then just going over it. He's looking in at the sounds of Katia rummaging around. Every time there's a new sound, his attention just shifts. And as he just kind of pops his head into this room, just having a look, you can see something shift across the front of the door. It doesn't come in. And now that you're looking at it, it doesn't look as squat as the thing that you saw in your vision,
So
but it flashes in front of it.
So there's something, but I don't think it's
Yeah.
the thing.
It's hard to say. It literally just...
So, and does that seem quite far away from when you say it goes across? How far away, or roughly?
Talking about maybe 20 feet.
So not. I mean, like
It's not these.
Not
Most
that
of these
far.
chambers at this level
Yeah.
are kind of stunted in that they veer, and they are
Okay.
purposefully. They're not long.
I'm gonna grab Jim. I'm going to be pointing in the direction I saw the thing, and I'm going to be very. Obviously, I can't force you, but I'll be gently trying to manoeuvre him between me and it.
I
I'll be
am
pointing
standing there.
But I'm pointing
What
in
do
the
you
direction
see?
I saw.
What do you see?
There's something there. It moved across like Katia talked about before. It's close. It's like 20 feet away, Jim. 20 feet. And it's very good at
You can't
hiding.
see anything.
Just be.
I can't see shit.
I'll tell you if I see it again. Just be ready.
So you stop and just stare down this.
I'm staring intently, looking for any sign of anything.
Has it downloaded yet? While I read it.
It's not a big file.
Okay, cool.
It is quite literally just that
Okay,
transcript.
anything else that is salvageable, even if it's
Nothing.
corrupted?
If you want to download the rest of you can, but they are very badly corrupted. The computer took a hell of a lot of weight on itself and crushed itself. It's only that file because it was active.
Okay. Is this connected to any other system? Should I roll?
Yep.
Like I'm literally flying fingers because if I can find any other connections, it's a quick look. If not, I'm out.
Okay.
So it's
Katia, you can hear
Roll?
these guys. Yeah, intelligence plus technology. You can hear these guys shifting
What's
in the
going on
passage.
over there?
There's something out there. It's like close, 20 feet.
Hold on, I'll have a quick look.
Okay, so you step out into the passage.
Intelligence or
I think
wits?
it's more like
Okay.
poke my head out Goonies style between these guys.
Okay. You can't quite see what they're looking down at because the passage itself veers off and around the side. To get a proper look, you are going to have to leave the room.
Have these two left the room, or are they in?
Agnes is sticking with Jim at this point.
So are Jim and
So with Jim or Moses?
are these guys all
Jim.
in the corridor then?
Apart from Moses, Moses is still
Yeah,
hacking
I
away at
left
the
the
Well,
room.
corridor.
okay, I'll leave them to have a look.
Okay.
I'll be close behind.
Okay.
Can I add my network specialty?
Yes.
Okay. Is it intelligence or wits? Intelligence.
Intelligence.
I'm going to look. 2 successes.
Okay. We'll get back to you in a second.
That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 successes.
Nice.
Okay. It's not connected to any other terminal. It looks like there's
Any
there-
other system?
No.
In
It
general.
looks like there are fail-safes put into this where if one goes down, it will shut everything down.
Okay.
Or if there's any disturbances
Like a
to one
domino
particular
effect.
one. You get a feeling that the communication between this particular terminal is more limited than the other ones. It was more like it goes between cities rather than worldwide.
Yeah.
It's
yeah,
not connected
I
to
got
the
the gist of it.
Yeah. As you hear Katia kind of step away from behind, and you're going, and then you can hear, and you stop and you glance over, and you can see a hunched figure sat in the chair opposite you, skeletal-like, and he just goes, "Do you speak? Do you make any noise?"
No.
Okay,
I activate unseen passage. Well, these guys are distracted.
excellent. Okay. The moment that you do,
And I go hungry in the process. I hate that.
Don't you just hate that?
the moment that you do, he points to the terminal he's next to. He has a very long, bony finger, not to the length that Benjamin's been drawing, but he just points.
That freaks me out. I go like, okay. I looked at it.
Right. You can see just behind the unit, this old kind of metal rusted unit, there is a very small gap leading into another tunnel. And he just points.
And I looked into that tunnel.
What did you pull out?
One of my greeting cards. Actually, it says Jonah Sullivan. I should get rid of the dead man's cards, but it's just one of my cards with my number.
Okay. So
The
do you go
burner
into
number.
the tunnel?
Sorry?
Do you go into the tunnel?
I take a look because if I'm gonna call
It's
my
just a long black tunnel. And again, he points to it. The moment you move, he goes. Do you go out and get him?
I'm out of the room, remember?
The moment
You're out of the
Yeah,
room.
we're
Oh no,
out.
forget
You
about
are
it.
on your
I
own.
just then I walk on my own with Foggy.
you go in.
Yeah, with
Okay.
Foggy.
You go in, and then he goes in behind you, and you can hear nothing as he shifts the unit back in front. And then
just Foggy and
follows
me?
you down. Okay.
I thought you were inside the room. I got
Glancing down
completely
this
lost. I was
chamber, you can
concentrated.
see what looks to be disturbed parts of the debris on the floor, very slightly. But there's nothing else around it. No other prints lead to this disturbed place. It's almost like it's there intentionally. And you kind of survey it for a moment. And then, with your senses, you just listen. And it's the lack of noise that suddenly pricks your attention. You can no longer hear Moses on the terminal.
I go back into the room to look.
He's not there.
See if I can. Oh shit.
Meanwhile, you can hear the echoing in the distance of people calling your name, but every time you glance behind you, the kindred with the skeletal face just goes and just points with that long finger past your shoulder down the tunnel. And you continue scurrying until finally you come into what can only be described as a box room, for it is almost perfectly square. And it is littered with the exact same debris of before. However, this looks fresher and there are no scorch marks upon it. There's just
So no bone.
ashes. There is ashes and bone, but there are no scorch marks. There is no trace of fire
Okay.
here. And the moment that you step out of the other side, the other kindred unfurls himself from this passage. And you've been traveling a good 5 minutes down this passage.
Okay.
And then he just rolls his neck. And then you see another Nosferatu step from the far end of the room. And another Nosferatu. And then the third one that steps out is hideously deformed. We're not talking Nosferatu, we're talking hideous in a really wrong way, in that his arms are jagged. He has a bone jutting out of the corner of his neck and another one jutting out from his side in particular ways that if anyone was to try and grab, it's almost like it's purposefully designed to make them very, very unenticing to touch.
Okay.
And they all just stare at you.
Touch it.
You're already happy.
I don't think it's
Okay.
what I want it to be, though.
What's your name?
Moses.
You smell fresh.
Sort
Don't smell like gasoline.
No. Just came. Haven't been here a while. Long.
You're not from this warren.
No.
And the Canaanites with you.
They are not from the wars either.
The other Nosferatu.
Sorry?
The other Nosferatu.
Apparently she's from this area. Who was the head, the chief of these warrens?
I don't know.
Were you just a traveler passing through?
I'm here looking for someone.
Okay.
And he glances behind you and you feel a pressure on your back. Almost like a long hand is just clasped on your shoulder. Uncomfortably close to your neck.
Like, hey there. Watch out, if you keep on it, you'll have to buy me a drink. And I try to give a little step to the side so I at least...
They hold
see
you in
the
place. I mean, you can glance up.
Yeah.
The Nosferatu behind you is the same one that has jutting spikes coming from his body. And the closer, now that you're looking at him, he is deformed in a very practical way. In the sense that he is designed to be monstrously efficient at ripping things apart. There are bones jutting from his body where even in a Nosferatu you've not seen something this savage. And it is very difficult to look at him. I mean, you're used to being around your clan. You're used to the deformities. But for you, this is difficult to look at. And you lower your eyes as you look back to this skeletal individual that is just observing you closely. And he gets really uncomfortably close and just seems to sniff.
Who are you looking for?
I'm trying to find out if you're lying to me, Canaanite.
Why do you call me that? I try to discern whether or not this is actually a Nosferatu.
Sure. Roll intelligence. I'll tell you what, roll intelligence plus politics.
Okay.
Hey, damn it.
That is one success.
It is a Nosferatu.
Okay.
These are all Nosferatu. The one behind you doesn't... You can tell that he's deformed like a Nosferatu, but the changes done to him are almost purposefully done. It's like someone's purposefully broken his bones and set them in a way to make it nasty and effective. Yeah. But the one in your face, you've never been called a Canaanite before. You're not quite sure what it is, but he's saying it almost in a... The emphasis he's putting on it is obvious, like he's trying to put a point across, but you're not quite
like
certain.
derogatory or something like that.
Yeah, but he's not saying it in a derogatory way, but it's almost like he's trying to make something clear.
Oh, yeah. Which totally, like, Moses does not get it. So he goes like, so who are you looking for? P. Wallace? BJ? Mute? That asshole?
Cutter.
Cutter? Who's
You-
Cutter?
My pack mate.
I came here looking for other people. actually for anybody who was here that could have survived the fire.
Roll charisma plus persuasion.
Well, actually, I'm lying.
You're lying.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Oh, no,
Manipulation.
wait. We are looking for survivors, right? Or any... No, yeah, I'm saying the
Kind of.
truth.
Yeah.
I'm telling the truth.
I was gonna say. Charisma plus persuasion.
That's gonna be just charisma.
Get that hunger dice out.
It's all hunger dice.
It's one of those days.
That's one success.
He reaches out and grabs you by the throat. And he brings you close.
Oh my god, everybody's doing that lately.
And he listens. And he can hear voices back at the tunnel, and you can tell that because he turns his head towards it.
Like, calm down, Foggy, it's okay.
Foggy's with you.
Yeah.
The moment they glance down and see Foggy, the kindred besides the massive one that looks covered in hair, sees Foggy, just kneels down and just kind of gestures, almost gently and seductively towards it. And Foggy just steps back, uncertain, glances towards you, but the pressure on your neck tightens, and then he just reaches almost longingly for it, and then his hand just snaps out and grabs Foggy and lifts him by the scruff of the neck and just pulls him close and looks at him. And as Foggy just bares his teeth and just starts thrashing, he just reaches up and just...
Hijo de puta, I just go at him.
Okay?
Teeth first, I don't care.
Okay. First of all,
I ride the wave. I don't care. I'm in frenzy. I ride the wave. I tear his throat out. Like I rip it apart. I'm gonna die here. I don't care.
We're gonna die.
So,
And I
Merry
rouse the blood.
Christmas, everyone.
okay. First of all, you are technically being held, so it's strength
No,
plus
it's
roll
fine. I'm just
to
gonna
break
defect.
the...
It's okay.
Okay,
I can
cool.
survive this.
Okay.
I
So,
know this is.
It's gonna be 2 successes. I'm not gonna let out.
I don't want to die.
okay. That's a critical win.
Yeah.
The moment you begin thrashing and your eyes begin rolling back, the kindred behind you tightens his grip on you, on the other side of him, and just lurches forward, and you feel the puncture in the back of your ribs as one of the spines that pokes from him just juts straight through you and pokes out the other side. You're barely aware of this. That is going to be...
I get a zillion points
It
of
really
that.
is episode number 13.
Yeah.
that is going to be 3 points of superficial damage. That's already halved.
Okay.
As the spine just shoots through you and you are held in place.
Okay.
And you begin thrashing against it, and as the other one just kind of observes, the one that's been closest to you that's watching is just observing you almost like hypnotized, and every movement of your face as you begin thrashing and changing, your arms are being pinned back and you're just thrashing against this spine which is just jutting up out of you, but the other one's just watching your face and tracking it with his own, almost like he's trying to see a reaction in you. And the expression on his face, it's not taunting, it's not even malicious, he's just observing, almost like he's looking for something, but you are scarcely aware of it. There's a part of you which is almost aware, almost certain about what's going on, but at this point you are just gripped in a frenzy. And then you just see the other one just reach into his long, like tattered coat, and he pulls something out, and he just moves forward and just presses, and you feel a sharp pain, and then you feel nothing. You are now intolerable.
Okay.
1 out of 4.
Did we get any of this?
Roll you two, and you two alone.
Yes.
Wits plus awareness.
Is this with all specs dice as well? Because I'm assuming,
Yes.
yeah.
Oh, nice.
Which two of us?
Only those two.
All specs
They're the only
people?
ones with all specs.
The Allspex people.
We are the all specs people.
That's just a tasty 2 successes.
It's a messy critical.
What is it with you and those?
I know. You know what's going to happen. I'm going to have a bloody premonition. So,
Rewind.
so 4, 5, so 6 successes.
Jesus.
Okay. Wow, 6 successes. You are. As you move back into the room, Katia is listening, and she can hear noise, but she can't quite pinpoint where it's coming from. And she can hear a scuffle. Then she can hear a kind of coming, just echoing down from somewhere, and she can't piece where it is. But then, as she kind of looks around to you, you're just staring at the terminal, and she thinks for a moment that something's flashing on the terminal, or that you've seen something in the reflection. So she checks back towards the door, then looks back to the terminal, and then you realise then, Katia, that he's not looking at the terminal. He's looking at beyond it or through it, and then you rush forward, and as Jim sees you going towards the metal casing that's surrounding it, he comes up behind you, grabs hold of the terminal and yanks it back, and then you can see a passage going further down, and you can hear and then you hear her
Jim's next step.
Was carried through.
I'm assuming that I'm just zoned out at this point.
no.
So I'm not. So I've come out of the. I haven't been like. I wasn't just like so fixated on the.
No, but you are going to take your Bane level severity in any awareness rolls from this point into the end of the scene.
Sure.
I give him a little elbow. Like, see, I told you.
You are. There is so much sensation overload. The remains of that premonition, everything is just kind of making it hard for you to focus on anything.
It's coming true. It's happening.
Okay, as I'm starting to go through, I'm going to activate toughness.
Okay.
So that does require a rouse check, which is successful. Yay!
Okay. You scurry down as quickly as you can down this passage, with the other guys following you, and Benjamin taking up the rear. And this passage stretches for a decent amount, and you are hunched forward.
Is he?
And then finally you branch out on the other side into a square room. And you can see that the tunnel goes on further than you can make out. But the thing that immediately grips your attention directly at the centre of the room is the fact that Moses is laid out on his back with a wooden spike coming out of his chest. He's unmoving. And curled up in the nook of his arm is Foggy, who's just unmoving.
Grab the what appears to be a stake out.
I'm staring around like,
So
is there no obvious other way out of this room?
Yeah, on the far
Okay, so
far
there's
end
a
of the
way
room, it goes down another tunnel. This is just a stop point.
So we're all in the room now. Is Agnes with us?
No, she didn't go with you.
So is she back in the computer? Which have we seen her since the computer?
She was in the computer room with you, kind of observing what you were doing. The moment you ventured off down the corridor, she did not go. She stayed where she was. Okay, so
Toss that aside.
trying to recall the.
What now? What was going on?
I'm
What?
trying.
No, it's Benjamin just babbling. It's not me asking a question. Is he? I mean, I know that we're, but is he? I mean, gone, dead, gone.
No. Hold on, I'm trying to listen. I want to see if I can hear the sounds of anything moving.
You're listening, and the first sound you hear is as the stake is pulled, and Moses immediately. Involuntarily, you do a deep intake of breath, and you can feel your body riddled with these holes. And the next thing you're aware of is a dampness on your side, and as you look down, you see that Foggy is not where you saw them drop him. He's obviously crawled up to you and is gone. You can see from the bone jutting out that they broke his neck.
What happened?
Am I still in frenzy? No.
No. You were torpored, you were out of it.
Yeah, just starboard.
You're in misery.
I just.
I just kneel down and I immediately give him a hug, just like hold on to him.
There are others.
How many?
3, 4, don't remember.
We need out. We need out.
No. Yeah.
We need to get out.
Where's Agnes?
Back down the tunnel. Let's go. Move. And I start shoving them towards that damn tunnel.
Come on. We've got to keep
Let's
moving.
go.
I grab Foggy with me.
And I'm bodily picking them and shoving them towards that damn tunnel.
Okay. Foggy's limp as you lift him up. He doesn't weigh anything. And it's now more than ever before you've just realised just how weightless he is. And you just carry him back out in the tunnel. It's not easy to move. And what's your hunger? What makes you feel even worse is the fact that all you can really think on not only is the loss of Foggy, but just how that smell is distracting. And it's a horrible, guilty thought that whilst you've just lost probably Moses' best friend, all you can think about is there is a part of you that just wants to drain him.
And actually, that's what I do.
Okay, so halfway up this tunnel, Moses just stops, and his head bows, and Eugene is there. As he drains Foggy. You are fully satiated. Well, you still have one.
Yeah, just one. Yeah. I just put him back in the ground and go, gracias. Just one last friend from a favor. No, one last favor from a friend. And I actually, when I stand up and incorporate, just slap my face. And I book it back to the room.
Which room?
To where Agnes is.
Okay.
I will stick close to Moses.
Okay. The room is kind of Agnes is kind of hovering at the door. The passage that you've just gone down, kind of looking at. The moment she sees you coming, she backs out so that you can get through, and then just looks down the passage, looks back at you, notes the hole in your chest. It's worth noting you did take.
I had 3
superficial
at the beginning.
Yeah, you took 2 more superficial as well.
Okay, cool. I'm full with superficial.
The fact you were grappled and you were in frenzy and not actively kind of focused on what was going on around you, it's pretty easy for them to kind of drive the stake in. Which is why it's not 5 points of. Or
Moses, we need to know exactly what happened.
Agnes, what are you not telling us?
nothing.
Then go down that passage.
No.
Why don't you want to?
What did you find on the terminal, Moses?
A group of Nosferatus looking for somebody else.
Also, it's worth mentioning a lot of your hard drives are missing.
From the servers here?
Yeah.
I did find something.
What did you
Who's P. Wallace?
I don't know.
Who's Mute?
Mute?
Mute.
One of the broodmates here. Why?
Do you know what he was dealing with?
No. Why should I?
Have you seen any Nosferatus that have, like, bones sticking out of them?
No.
How about Benjamin's drawing?
No, I don't know what the hell that's about. Why are you asking me these? I've been here.
Because there's people asking a lot of questions about the other Nosferatu with me, and the other Canaanites, or however they called us.
Canaanites? Did you just...
Yes. I didn't even think they were vampires at the beginning. But one of them killed Foggy.
Does that term ring
Just
a bell?
because.
Intelligence plus politics.
Oh, politics.
Yeah, it is a political term.
I want to know this so bad. You're killing me. 2 successes.
Canaanites used to be the term that Kindred went by until people went with the more subtle name of Kindred. There is a faction that the Camarilla really does not like.
Really?
Yeah, funny that. That uses the term nowadays because they refuse to refer to themselves as Kindred. But they were wiped out during the London Blitz. But then again, you're not in London anymore.
Well, you're lucky to be alive.
Why is that? You know something?
You know the propaganda side of stuff, not much more than that.
No, that's fair. Do we talk about this now, or do we take what we know and get out?
Do we have enough to satisfy Lucky Jake?
No.
We know that hard drives have been taken. we have something. Did you get something?
Yes, and I
And
have
we
I have a
also-
conversation between Mute and BJ.
And the Sabbat.
It's worth noting while you're patting
So
yourself
what-
down, the floppy disk isn't there anymore. The floppy disk isn't there anymore.
Well, it's okay
Okay.
because I had it I had it on my computer,
That's fine.
so it's my computer with me.
Okay. Did you have those with you when you went into the
No,
passage?
I actually
Okay.
I left everything there. And
Okay.
moved.
That's fine. It's still there. Then.
Okay. Yeah, because I didn't go with the computer. I didn't have time to pack
That's fine.
everything. It's
That's
just there, sitting. I mean, it didn't look like his invitation. That gave me a lot of
That's fine.
time.
If you took it with you, then
Oh no. I start grabbing stuff and tell her like I have a conversation that was on the log with Mute and BJ. I'm talking about an exchange and something about intercity, mentioning New York or NYC, whomever goes by that nick.
Did you just say Sabbat?
Yes. You said you're sure they said K-Knight.
Yeah, it really struck me out. I didn't think they were vampires because they were calling me a K-Knight and
Right.
you as well.
Right. Will
We need
Sabbat
out, we
presence
need out.
will Sabbat presence here be enough for Plucky Jake?
I look at Agnes, like it better
she
be
has
fucking
no
enough.
idea what the fuck you're on about.
What's a Sabbat and
This
what's
is
a
not the
K-Knight?
time for
No,
history
out.
lessons.
We need out now.
All right, I agree. Let's go. Where's the out? Where's the exit?
We have some information. If there's anything else we can pick up on the way out, I think we need to focus on trying to get out of here. Although, what time is it?
War.
Are we starting to feel
It's
pretty
close.
tired?
Yeah.
You're not feeling tired yet.
Okay.
Fast way out now.
Any route out that takes us to wherever it was, that bastard's haven.
There is a really, really reluctant glance down the chamber that you've just come out of. Or we go back the way we came.
No, we go out that way. And I grab my stuff and I start walking down the way that probably makes a trail behind the people that killed Foggy.
Crowbar in one hand, gun in the other hand.
Agnes,
You want me to have that?
she does not look
I
like she
use-
wants to go, but the look that you
Can
give her
use
in the
this?
end, she just
Is it better than claws?
nods
It
and
gives us
then
range.
starts leading the way down into the.
Because I know it's not Agnes's fault, but she knows more that she's letting on, and probably could have been of use. That's what I think. So, whatever it is, if she doesn't want to share it with them, because she wants to keep it in clan, or she doesn't want to keep it share it with me because she wants to keep it within her brood, she still owes Plucky Jake an explanation. So, I will make sure that she makes it out in one piece. But I'm following those fuckers. Like, I'm literally going that way. Is that when you are like, yeah, I'm okay. I'm not gonna make a mess. I'm not looking for trouble, but I'm secretly wishing it shows up? That's my mentality right now. Like, Moses, this is probably the first time he is before being embraced itself. Confident, cocky, and willing to burn the world down just to have a little laugh.
So, everyone goes with them?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going.
With Agnes kind of going reluctantly along, leading the path down, you all venture into that chamber and look over into that square chamber. You can see the blood pooled from where Moses and Foggy were both laid. You can certainly smell the distinct scent of Vitae, faint though it is. And then you look into the black chamber, the black passage which leads off, and know that somewhere down there are people you really don't want to meet. And that is where we're going to leave tonight.
Foggy, no!
I mean, Cassie doesn't want to meet them, but I do.
Yeah, I know.
Well, actually, Moses wants to meet them with his fists.
Well, Cassie has just given Jim the gun, so
You got
we
a
got
gun.
3 shots.
Yeah,
3.
4 bullets. You still have
I think
3
this
shots.
episode needs to just be
Only
called
3 shots.
Sabbat.
only 3 shots.
Only 3 shots on the gun. Yeah, I remember that one.
Episode
Yeah,
13. as
right
well.
now Moses is like looking more like a Bruya
We're gonna have to move that adorable little foggy drawing to the other board.
No!
You know,
It also means
this moment
that
of like,
Oh man. Wow. Guys, thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Oh my god!
Please remember that obviously you can get in touch with us about social media and all the rest. We won't be here next week.
No.
We won't be here the week after, unfortunately, because it's obviously the holidays.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everybody.
But we will be back the week after. At which point we will be picking this back up.
January.
I believe there are plans to release some other stuff in the meanwhile.
Yeah.
We'll do our
so
best.
please stay tuned with that.
There will be an obituary for our former comrades.
And join us again when we come back in not 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
yeah.
To resume.
Yes.
7th
book
of
two.
January, episode 14. Don't miss it.
Yeah.
Don't
Thank you very
miss
much,
it.
guys.
When. Oh.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you. We love you.
Thanks for watching this episode of Blood on the Thames. If you'd like to keep up with all the latest news, follow us on Twitter and Facebook and ShrekNet, the links to which are down below. And remember, if you want to join us live, be sure to tune in every Monday at 7 p.m. on Twitch. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.